You know, this is one of those topics that no one really wants to think about, but if you're a parent, a homeowner, married, or helping take care of aging parents, it's something that honestly deserves a little attention. I'm talking about estate planning. And before you tune out thinking it's complicated or expensive, that's actually why I want to mention Trust and Will. Trust and Will makes estate planning feel way less intimidating than it sounds. They offer modern, attorney-designed wills and trusts that you can create online. And the process is surprisingly straightforward. In fact, you can create a will in as little as 30 minutes. That includes things like guardianship for your kids or pets, how your assets are distributed, and even healthcare directives. Don't wait until it's too late. Protect your loved ones with Trust and Will, the most trusted name in online estate planning. Go to trustandwill.com/future to get 20% off. That's trustandwill.com/future for 20% off. trustandwill.com/future.
That is a song about a place, isn't it? Sounds like a good place to go because Getty and Alex might be there. I don't know. Lakeside Park by Rush opening our show on this Friday morning, the 10th of April. All Request Friday. The theme this week is places. And Danny said, you know what I'd like to hear? Lakeside Park by Rush. There you go, Danny. Somebody else requested it too, and I am so sorry for not keeping a close enough eye on who that was. But to Danny and to the other anonymous, because I can't remember their name, person that wanted to hear Lakeside Park, great choice, easy choice for me to start the show on an All Request Friday when we play those songs about places. Good morning. I hope your day is off to a great start. How about this weather? Like, can we just talk for 1 second, just one brief moment about this weather? Yesterday, I left home and I did it Phil Collins style yesterday. That's what I like to call the weather when there is no jacket required. You see what I did there? If it's a Phil Collins kind of day, that means there is no jacket required. I'll just let you figure that one out or have your kids Google it for you. Anyway, yesterday I walk out of the house without any cares in the world. At least when it comes to what I was wearing. And then today I'm like, it's colder out there. I gotta dig out that winter jacket again. I gotta put on my little chapeau to keep my bald head warm. It's up, it's down, it's up, it's down. I know today 9 degrees is not the worst thing in the world, but yesterday, just enjoying the freedom of going outside without wearing a jacket. When I was enjoying the afternoon after work, it was very mild by then. And I popped by Dernan Motors in Kitchener. Haven't been in a bit. Dernan Motors was a longtime partner on this radio station. And I guess I haven't heard their commercials in a while. But when I got there, I guess why. Like it worked too well, the commercials on this radio station, you see, because their parking lot was just jam full. So anyway, I'm sitting around waiting for stuff to finish. And what do you do when you're at a car shop? You talk about cars, and a couple of older gentlemen there. We got into a conversation, and you know I'm a bit of a gearhead, right? So I'm just really enjoying it. We're talking about, like most old people do, maybe just old men, I don't know. Things, they don't make things the way they used to, do they? And we were just talking about the classic cars that we used to love. You might remember my very first car was a 1969 Mustang. Absolutely loved that thing. Sunk a ton of money into it too as a kid, but this is what we do. This is what we do with the enthusiasm of youth. Anyway, we have this little chat, just kind of random. What else are you going to talk about when you're at the car shop? And there we were. And then as I'm walking out and getting back into my car, one of the gentlemen with whom I had been speaking comes right outside and says, "Oh, by the way, I'm Dave, number 225." So I checked this morning, and gosh darn it, there you are, Dave S., Farwell's Force member number 225. I had no idea I was talking to a member of Farwell's Force yesterday at Durnan Motors, but indeed I was. Dave, thank you for being a member, and a member in good standing who remembers his Farwell's Force number. I love it. We are a force for good, a force for change, a force to be reckoned with, and apparently a force that likes to talk about classic cars of years gone by. It was fun. Yesterday, after that, I was on my way out to beautiful Wilmot Township. It was the State of the Township address by Mayor Natasha Salonen, don't you know? But before I got there, I'm on Highway 78 westbound. Obviously. How else are you going to get to New Hamburg? Well, I guess unless you take Herbs Road. But anyway, it's a whole other story. There I am, on my way out 78, and I'm coming up on Tressler Road. And listen, maybe it was just like by 5 o'clock-ish. It's about 4:30. That's like, considering the time of day that I start, like, this is end of days for me. You know, I don't need rush hour. I don't need traffic. So I'm just saying this as a preface to maybe, perhaps, it's possible I was in a bit of a mood. But there I am, driving along, minding my own business. My cruise control is set about 98. I know it's a 90. I was doing 98. But I'm just sitting there in the right lane, minding my own business. And, of course, as you're getting close to Tressler Road, there is an exit there. And I got, frankly, annoyed by the number of people who came screaming up on the left and then cut into the right and hammered on their brakes because they were screaming up on the left so they could get off at Tressler Road. Because when you hammer on your brakes like that, I noticed I've got the sort of automatic cruise control that automatically adjusts distance and slows you down if traffic ahead of you is slowing down. And sure enough, I realize I'm slowing down because all these jack wagons, I'm sorry to say it, but it's true, all these jack wagons are screaming up the left lane, pulling over into the right lane, hammering on their brakes, slowing the rest of us down. Don't you know how this works by now? I remember, so here I'm putting on my driver's ed hat, okay? I am now your driver trainer. You are supposed to plan ahead. If you know you're getting off at Tressler Road, and that means you need to be in the right lane on Highway 78 westbound, then you should get over into the right lane early enough so that you're not doing dumb stuff like that and slowing everybody down because, you know, you got to scream up the left lane and crank it over into the right lane in the space that I'm leaving, the safe space I'm leaving between me and the vehicle in front of me. So by the third time this happened, I'd had enough. And so I throw my hands up in the air. I'm like shaking my head, and I could tell the guy in front of me saw that. He starts shaking his head. So now, listen, this is what I'm doing. You've slowed this lane down even more. I'm pulling out to the left, and I'm going to pass you. And when I did, oh, did I give him that horn. Like, I hammered on that horn. Yes, I did. He looks over at me and indicated that he was getting off at Highway 78. He was a younger man. I feel a little bit bad for laying on the horn the way that I did. But to you, young man, again, I've got my driver's ed hat on here, okay? Don't do that. Like you did. I leave space. We're all supposed to leave space between us and the vehicle in front of us. That space is not for you to come screaming down the left lane, crank her over into the right lane, and then hammer on the brakes in that space in between me and the vehicle I was leaving space for. You see how this works? If you were planning ahead, you would have found plenty of room to get over into the right lane behind me without cutting in front of me like that. That's how it's supposed to work. Don't be a jackwagon, or some cranky old guy at the end of his day might just hammer on that horn like I did. I hope I taught you a lesson, young man. I doubt that I did, but I felt better for a moment anyway. Eventually, I did make my way to the beautiful town of New Hamburg and to the State of the Township address with Wilmot Mayor Natasha Salonen. It was a lovely afternoon and a very good speech that we were able to enjoy. And then we did a little bit of a Q&A. And let me tell you, so here's something. Here's something that struck me. As you may know, Mayor Natasha Salonen used to work for Ontario Premier Doug Ford. He was working for the Ontario government. And we have a conservative or progressive conservative, whatever you want to call it. That's the political stripe of our Ontario government. And it's not too often that members of that party are all that interested in speaking to the media. It's just the way it's gone lately, federally, provincially. In fact, I couldn't help but notice yesterday in a story in the Waterloo Region Record, there was, the story was about our appointed regional chair. That's the hot rumor, right? That's going to be this October. Instead of electing a regional chair, we will have a regional chair appointed to us by the province. And MPP's comments were sought. And the article in the Waterloo Region Record noted that all of our local, 3 of them, MPPs who are with the governing party, the Progressive Conservatives, the Conservatives, did not comment, declined comment. And that's typical. So take that and consider that this is a mayor of Wilmot Township who worked for the provincial government that is not always fond of speaking to the media. And Mayor Salonen told me, I was managing the Q&A portion of the state of the township yesterday, and she said, you got free reign. Ask what you want to ask. So not only did she take questions from the media, but she said, you just, whatever you want to ask is fair game. You have free reign to ask what you want, which I find to be a little bit counter to what we've come to experience from people of that political stripe. Just a thought. And speaking of hot rumors, the hot rumor going around that room yesterday is, will the current mayor of Wilmot Township be the next appointed regional chair? Because, you know, there are ties to the provincial government. Listen, I'm not trying to, no, I am trying to start a rumor. If you haven't heard a good rumor by noon, start one yourself. I'm just telling you what was going around that room yesterday. Anyway, it was lovely to see my fellow Wilmartians yesterday. That's what you call yourself in Wilmot, right? You are Wilmartians, I think. It was a nice afternoon out at Puttycombe House, and the hot rumor going around was that the mayor of Wilmot may be the next appointee or the first appointed regional chair. Listen, you can make the case, couldn't you, given the ties to the provincial government, even though apparently those ties aren't too tight because she gives media free rein and allows commentary and conversation with, which not all conservatives do. All right, just ahead of your Farwell Show 5 and your not $1 million question for this Friday morning. You know that the phone line's open the minute we start the show every day. And so they're open to engage with you. Interact. It's the most interactive radio program anywhere in the region. And I am not surprised in the least that Andre is here with us because it's a game day, baby. Good morning, Andre.
Force 369.
Farwell's Force member number 369. I met Dave yesterday, 225 over at Durden Motors. I met another Dave at the State of the Township number 362. There you go. Keep them coming.
Keep them coming, Grand Pumbaa. So I was thinking game day, baby, for sure. And I can't wait to hear from Farzy tonight. And I was wondering, Mike, 2 things. One, it would have been nice if I can go to Victoria Park, Clock Tower, big screens, lots of people, surround sound with my box of wine. You know, it would be nice.
Wait, with your box? You can't do that, Andre.
I know I can, but it would be nice, right?
With a box of wine? I don't know how I feel about that, but okay, sure.
No, I'm going to save some for my friends. Come on now. I'm not like you. I don't keep it all to myself.
Okay.
Then 2, I heard Chef D. Oh, boy. Eh? I heard Chef D coming on, and I heard him laugh. He's a really nice person. Oh, yeah. And I was wondering if he was going to call to say that he will pay for that tattoo toilet seat on your bum. Cool.
No, Andre, let's not have that kind of language, okay? That was a suggestion to raise more money when Farwell for Hire comes around again, that I get the logo of a team that shall not be named onto my derriere. You're getting, let's not... There are so many things wrong with that idea. So that was not part of the conversation we had, Andre. And I think what Andre is also saying is that he wishes that we could have alcohol in public parks, which I do not disagree with. I think we could loosen those rules. And it sounds like the province is moving in that direction, at least for some festivals and events later this year. Steve is also with us on the phone early this morning. Good morning, Steve.
Good morning. Yeah, so I was just listening to your little rant there about the Conservatives and I can't even begin to imagine living in a country where a democratically elected government can get power and then democratically decide amongst themselves arbitrarily to become undemocratic to run a democracy. I don't understand how they can appoint people. I'm sick of it here in the region where our own council has decided to just pick people that they want for the job. But this isn't good for the people at all.
Steve, I hear where you're coming from, and we have had, if I remember correctly, I'm going off the top of my head, but I'm pretty sure I want to say 6. Now I'm debating whether or not it was 4. Either way, we've had multiple appointments to school boards and councils in this last term. Appointments meaning we did not get the chance to elect that individual via a by-election or whatever the case may be. I think the number was 6 in this term. And of course, now the province is talking about appointing a regional chair as opposed to allowing us to democratically elect a regional chair. And then you might be alluding also to the fact that we democratically elected 5 people, 4 of whom were elected Conservative, 1 of whom was elected NDP, to that party to represent us in Ottawa, and now they're all Liberals. I don't make the rules, and the rules allow for this, but there certainly has been an awful lot of it in recent times, hasn't there? All right, we're going to get to your not $1 million question. Have some fun trying to answer it in just a moment, but it's that time of the morning.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 9, 10.
For your Farwell Show 5, let's start at number 1. Canadian astronaut Jeremy Hansen and the rest of the Artemis II crew are drawing ever closer to Earth. They're set to splash down in the Pacific Ocean off the coast of California tonight, following their journey around the moon that will surely be in the history books. The 4-person crew became the most distant humans ever earlier this week, clocking in at a record 406,771 kilometers from Earth. Number 2, Statistics Canada says the labour market added 14,000 jobs in March, keeping the unemployment rate steady at 6.7%. The job gains were mostly in line with economists' expectations and mark a modest rebound from sharp losses across January and February. Job growth was led by a category the agency calls other services, which includes repair and maintenance work in the economy, as well as the professional, scientific, and technical services and natural resources industries. The tariff-sensitive manufacturing industry eked out a few thousand job gains in March, while the finance, insurance, real estate, and leasing sector led last month's losses. Number 3 on your Farwell Show 5 this morning, Liberals are meeting in high spirits in Montreal. It's the second day of their National Party convention, and it comes just days before the party is expected to clinch a majority government. 3 federal by-elections on Monday are expected to grant the Liberals a majority mandate without having to call a general election, even if they don't win them all. They only need 1 more seat in the House of Commons to get a majority after former Conservative MP Marilyn Gladue crossed the floor to join the Prime Minister Mark Carney's Liberal caucus. Number 4, the KW Titans took a 2-1 series lead in their playoff series with Windsor, knocking off the Express last night. And in the OHL playoffs, Barrie doubled Ottawa 4-2 as the Colts take a 1-0 series lead. 3 games in the OHL playoffs tonight, including Game 2 between Brantford and North Bay, Game 1 between Windsor and Flint, and, Game 1 between the Kitchener Rangers and Sault Ste. Marie Greyhounds. Rangers head coach UC Ahokas joins us for the Coaches Show this morning at 10:30. Right after that, we'll talk some Titans with team co-owner David Schooley. And, of course, we've got Rangers Greyhounds for you on your home of Rangers hockey tonight. Harris Law pregame show coverage starts at 6:30. And number 5 on your Farwell Show 5 this morning, Canada Celebrates is a countrywide initiative to mark the FIFA World Cup 2026. The Canada Celebrates Tour will make 38 stops from coast to coast to celebrate all things football. The tour comes through Waterloo Region. Yes, it's coming here on July the 11th.
Bravo!
I loved that.
Oh, it was great.
Well, it was pretty good.
Well, it wasn't bad.
Well, there were parts of it that weren't very good, though.
It could have been a lot better.
I didn't really like it.
It was pretty terrible.
It was bad.
It was awful.
It was terrible.
Get him away!
Hey, boo!
Boo!
And that is your Farwell Show 5 for this Friday morning. Something else we do on Fridays just to have a little bit of fun is what we call the not $1 million question. If you can get the answer, you will not get $1 million, but gosh, are we going to be impressed with you? We'll go through our entire day, if not our weekend, talking about how smart you are. And we're going to tie it into the Rangers game tonight. Thousands and thousands of us will be there at the Kitchener Memorial Auditorium, right? So that would classify as a large event. 21% of Canadians, so 1 in 5 of us, say we absolutely hate this when attending a large event. What is this? 21% of us say we absolutely hate this when attending a large event. What is this that 1 in 5 of us hate at a large event? If you think you know the answer, give us your best guess to the not $1 million question this morning on the Mike Farwell Show. This is 570 News Radio.
The old hometown looks the same as I step down from the train, and there to meet me is my mama and papa. Down the road I look, and there runs Mary, hair of gold and lips like cherries. It's good to touch the green, green grass of home.
It even has the name of the requester in the lyrics. Mary wanted to hear some Tom Jones and the green grass of home on this All Request Friday. Songs about places. I do suppose that home is a place, right? I've heard that it's where the heart is as well. All Request Friday, something else we do on Fridays, is our not $1 million question. Can't give you $1 million for the answer, but would love to know if you can come up with it. 21% of us say we absolutely hate this when we're attending a large event. What is this thing that 1 in 5 of us hate? Debbie is with us on the phone. Farwell's Force, member number 336. Good morning, Debbie.
Good morning. I have the answer.
You have the answer. You sound confident.
I have the answer. It's got to be the lineups for food, drinks, bathrooms, or getting in.
Debbie, I love it. I was as confident as you were, but we're both wrong.
I know, but that's what I hate the most.
I get it, and I appreciate the call, and good guess by you, but not the answer we're looking for. We'll go next to Tina. Good morning, Tina.
Good morning, Mike.
What do you think? 1 in 5 of us say we absolutely hate this at a large event. What is it?
Well, I might be 1 in 5, I would say. So I don't like those big camera things when it's put on me in a large event or something.
Like
those kiss cameras thing.
Tina.
Yes.
You're the smartest person in town.
Wow.
I
didn't.
You got the answer already.
Really?
Second caller. I'm not sure I've even ever heard from you before on the not $1 million question. Have you tried before?
No, I don't think you have.
Well,
no, I haven't called before.
Beginner's luck for you. Tina, you are absolutely right. 21% of Canadians say they absolutely hate this when attending a large event. What is this? Kiss cams.
Right.
There you go.
That's great. You started my day off right.
You started mine off right, too. Way to go, smarty pants.
Okay. Thanks, Mike.
Thanks, Tina. Bye-bye.
Have a good day.
You too. Bye now. Second caller nails it. For the record, I love the kiss cam. Just pucker up, baby. And you know what else I love at the Rangers games? My absolute favorite one, and this goes around the whole league. Not that other markets do it, but what I love that Kitchener does, the oblivious cam. Do I ever love, they put a little timer on there, and they call it the oblivious cam, and the timer counts until the person who is oblivious to the camera being on them recognizes that the camera is on them. Sure as heck, kiss cams, the answer. I love the oblivious cam. I love the kiss cam, but 1 in 5 of us do not love the kiss cam. I'm part of that 4 in 5 who do love the kiss cam. You know what I'm going to do? I'll dig out another one of these, and we'll play again around 9:45 if you're up for it. But second caller, gets the answer this morning. Way to go, Tina. An update on the way from the 570 News Center. And then let's talk about the viral vending machine. How does a pizza vending machine go viral? We'll tell you about the story from Guelph coming up on the Mike Farwell Show. This is 570 News Radio.
I was toting my pack along the dusty Winnemucca Road when along came a semi with a high and canvas-covered load. If you're going to Winnemucca Mac with me, you can ride. And so I climbed into the cab and then I settled down inside. He asked me if I'd seen a road with so much dust and sand, and I said, listen, I've traveled every road in this here land. I've been everywhere, man. I've been everywhere, man. Across the deserts bare, man. I breathed the mountain air, man. Of travel I've had my share, man. I've been everywhere.
It is an all-request Friday. The theme this week is songs about a place. I think I'm getting a little philosophical here, but is everywhere an actual place? Maybe I should have said songs about a specific place, but I gives you the themes, you sees, and then you does with them what you wants. And Mark wanted to hear some Johnny Cash, and I've been everywhere on this all-request Friday. Songs about a place. How have we not heard Africa by Toto yet? Like, that is a place, isn't it? Anyway, I'll just leave that right there. You get to do with the theme as you see fit. And that's how All Request Friday works. I don't know if you know how a pizza vending machine works, but I have a little bit of experience with these things. You see, there used to be one. Well, it might still be there, in fairness, but we no longer stay at that particular hotel in Sudbury when we go there with the Kitchener Rangers. But one year we were there on the road trip through the north, and outside the hotel in Sudbury, there was a pizza vending machine. Never had I ever seen such a thing before. It was quite the interesting experience. Mark Herson happens to own one of these Pizza Forno franchises in Guelph and joins us for a chat. Mark, good morning.
Good morning, Mike. How are you?
I'm all right, thanks. How are you?
Fantastic, thanks. I love the music, by the way. I'm loving it.
Oh, I'm glad you are. Thank you. I mean, I like it too. I think, but let's just go down that path half a step further, Mark. Is everywhere an actual place here? I guess it is, but.
Oh, you know what? It's a tough one. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, but we've been everywhere, and that's actually kind of how we found this pizza machine. We found it in Portugal.
No way. Tell me more about that.
Yeah, so my wife and I were away on vacation, and we were in Portugal, and we were in a bar district, and essentially we were, had a few drinks, and we were looking for something to eat before we went to bed, and we found all these vending machines, and one of them was a pizza vending machine. And we tried it, and we thought, how could it be? And it was pretty good. So we just thought, hey, maybe we can bring this back to Canada. Maybe this would be a really fun thing to do at the University of Guelph.
Oddly enough, Mark, that is exactly how I stumbled upon the pizza vending machine. And I hope none of the boys from the team are listening, but it was an off night on the road. I had a couple of drinks, and on the way back, it's like, hey, that doesn't sound like the worst idea. And you know what? It's not bad at all.
Absolutely.
So you bring the idea back to Guelph at the university, and would it be fair to call it a bit of a slow start for the pizza vending machine?
I would say the opposite. Well, it was very, very unique. We've been there for about 4 years now. It's essentially been, really incredibly welcomed by the students. Like it was a very, very unique idea, and everyone that at the beginning 4 years ago was like, this is incredible. Like, this is, what is this thing, So, through the, fall, in spring, we're incredibly busy with the students and late night, revelry and all the rest. But, it's been an incredible journey.
That makes a lot of sense, especially in that location. I can see the appeal. And just to tell us a little bit more about how this works, like, you're less than 10 minutes or so, and that pizza's coming out nice piping hot for you.
Mike, less than 10 minutes. It's 3 minutes.
That's amazing. And what do you end up getting? Like, how does it work? If I approach that machine, what's the process like?
It's extremely simple. You basically walk up to the machine. We have a very large screen that shows you basically what we have to offer, usually about 5 to 6 pizzas. Your typical pizzas, pepperoni, we've got barbecue chicken, we've got meat lovers, cheese, we've got vegetarian. And, yeah, you essentially pick what you like on the screen. You can pay with debit, credit card, or with, in our case, student card, which really helps because students would much rather use, their parents' money than use their own, save that for the bars,
So you mentioned 3 minutes, like the blink of an eye, and you've got a hot pizza coming out of this machine. But in this day and age, Mark, even 3 minutes can feel like an eternity sometimes. You have turned that 3 minutes into a main attraction at your machine at the University of Guelph.
Well, it was one of the pain points was 3 minutes, and you think to yourself, how long is 3 minutes? But for somebody who's underdressed in the wintertime, it's a long time to wait for a pizza. And, essentially we thought, how can we kind of make it entertaining? And we've spoken to so many students over the years saying, like, oh, you have to see what's going on here late at night. It's pretty crazy. So, we said, hey, why don't we just throw a Ring doorbell camera on the machine and see what happens? And we did. So, on the machine itself, right beside it, we have a Ring doorbell camera, which we have a disclaimer that says, hey, look, if you press the button, you're going to be recorded. We can use the content on social media. And, if you're getting complete confirmation and approval to do this, and you're giving consent to do so. So we take the funniest clips and we put them on our TikTok and our Instagram, and we post them. And we give whoever we post a free pizza, which is a pretty good trade, I think.
I think it's a great trade. And I love how you've done this where the camera is there. It's clearly noted that the camera is there, but it's up to the user if they wish to activate the camera.
That's correct. Yeah, we don't post anything. We have a takedown notice as well. So if somebody does something and they regret it, we can certainly take it down within 24 hours. So we're very compliant with that kind of thing.
What have you seen people posting to your Ring doorbell camera on the vending machine?
Well, just like Johnny Cash said, everywhere, man, we've seen everything, man. It's been unbelievable. The creativity, the uniqueness, yesterday, we had somebody who showed up and just gave us the weather at 4:00 in the morning. We had somebody who showed up with a band and played a cover of Wonderwall. Every day it's hilarious. We had a hockey team that won the cup in their beer league and came afterwards and pressed the doorbell and brought the cup with them. So we get absolutely everything, and it's really unique and funny. And we got a lot of people who just come and say, "Hey, we really like the pizza. It's the only thing open at 4:00 in the morning. We love it."
Where did the idea come from to add this doorbell camera?
Well, I'm sure probably many of our your audience will probably remember Speaker's Corner. And Speaker's Corner back in the 1990s on City TV was really pretty unique thing at the time. And I remember as a teenager at the time going, oh man, you do something wacky on there and you'd be waiting to see if you're on. And it's really kind of the same concept. I would say it's kind of a similar concept to Speaker's Corner and America's Funniest Home Videos kind of wrapped into one.
That's a perfect way to describe it. And I remember Speaker's Corner very well. I can only imagine, Mark, now as the weather gets nicer and people might not be standing outside inappropriately dressed for the weather and freezing. Who knows what you're going to get over the summer months on this thing?
Well, that's the thing. We basically usually move the machine in the summertime away from the University of Guelph because the school is closed. Obviously, the students go home. So we're looking for new locations to potentially put the machine. And the funny thing is that in the past we've only had people come to the machine that really kind of are going to the University of Guelph or are using the sports facilities. And now we have people coming to the machine that have seen us on TikTok and Instagram, have driven in just to do videos. So we're getting people from all over that are coming in just to do videos. We're getting influencers coming in. So it's pretty interesting. We're now, like I say, a content factory. What kind of traction are you getting on these videos? Oh, man, it's incredible. We had a CTV news crew come through, and we did 100,000 views within 24 hours on that one. Some of the videos, some of the wacky ones, you just don't even think, hey, who's going to like this? We'll get 100,000 views. It's really consistently blowing our mind every day what, all the content. And quite frankly, we get so much content, we can't post it all. It's just, I haven't even looked through it today, and we've got 20 Ring doorbell camera warnings, so I have to go through them today to check. But it's a pretty funny. I love it. It's a great little business. I love that part of it, and something that I guess you wouldn't have expected with the business model that you've now added to your workflow, Mark, going through these videos on a daily basis. Yeah, well, I mean, it's pretty passive. I mean, vending machine businesses as a whole are pretty passive. You put food into a machine and they come and refill. They buy and you refill it. But with this one, you've got a really interesting thing because we're not paying for ads. People are coming and doing all this stuff. And it's free advertising. It's pretty incredible. And then we're asking people to tag the video if you're in it, and then they share it with their friends, and they and people see it. And they're like, oh my God, that's Mark, or that's Dave, or that's it's pretty fun.
I think it's fantastic, and it is a stroke of marketing genius. You mentioned the CTV camera crew that came through. We're having the conversation on the show this morning. I've seen write-ups in local media, and you've got that online presence that is attracting people from further afield just to come to your specific vending machine. Most importantly, Mark, where can we find this incredible content that you're creating for us, or curating anyway?
Well, thank you for asking, Mike. It's 149 Reynolds Walk, which is basically at the University of Guelph. And please come by. Even if you don't buy a pizza, it would be great if you did. But come by, do a piece of video, and who knows, maybe you'll win a free pizza.
Where do you post it online?
Oh, it's at Pizza Forno Guelph, and that's both on Instagram and TikTok, and for us oldies on Facebook. Okay,
Pizza Forno Guelph and 149 Reynolds Way.
That's right, at the University of Guelph.
Okay.
Very easy to find, lots of parking.
Mark, I love it. It's a great story and a great little add-on to the vending machine business. Well done by you, and thanks for joining the show.
Well, thanks for having us. We really appreciate it.
Enjoy your day. Bye-bye.
You too. Bye-bye.
Mark Herson operates, who knew, a pizza vending machine. And it's only a 3-minute wait. It doesn't take all that long at all. And as I recall from my experience in Sudbury, it comes out piping hot. It's not a bad pie. It's not a bad pie. But when the bad weather came, and we had our share of bad weather this past winter, didn't we? The idea came to just put a Ring doorbell camera on there, completely up to the user if they want to activate it. And now you've got hundreds of thousands of views on videos. Instagram, TikTok, or Facebook, Pizza Forno Guelph, if you want to see some of the content. And maybe it will inspire you to go by, try to win yourself a free pizza, or just go ham it up. That's what Speaker's Corner is all about. We talked with our first not $1 million question today. I say first because we're going to do another one right now. Something we do on Fridays just for fun. And it was 21% of us really hate this at a large event. What is this thing we hate at a large event? It was the kiss cam was the answer. But if you've ever been to one of these events, and so many of us have, and let's not get into the whole Coldplay affair that was revealed, right? But when the camera goes on people in the arena, in the stadium, they tend to ham it up. Some of my favorites in Kitchener over the years. I mentioned how much I love the Oblivious cam that the Rangers do, which is relatively new. But over the years, when the kids get on there and they start taking off their shirts and waving them around above their heads, they're just fully enthused about where they are and what they're doing. I love that kind of energy. And people just, it's what you do. The camera's on, you're going to ham it up. And the camera's on if you want it to be at Pizza Forno Guelph. And if you post the most fun video, the funniest, the most entertaining, you're going to get yourself a free pizza from Pizza Forno Guelph. Really neat little add-on to otherwise a passive business of a pizza vending machine. Been in operation for 4 years and now has become a viral sensation. Okay, we'll take a break. But when we come back from that break, if you would like to take a shot at our second of the not $1 million questions today, because Tina got the first one in the second guess. Let me try this one out on you. 60% of people, I always have a second one ready to go. I didn't expect that one to go in 2 guesses, though. Maybe we can get this one in 1 guess. 60% of people admit they tell their partner this cost less than it really did. What is this thing that 60% of us, 6 in 10, admit they tell their partner it cost less than it really did? Let me know if you think you know the answer to that one. Line up for your guess to the second not $1 million question of the day. 6 in 10 of us say we tell our partner this cost less than it really did. What is this? Give me your best guess on the Mike Farwell Show. This is 570 News Radio. It is an all request Friday, Songs About Places edition. And it is Funky Town, Population 1, Lips Inc. Mike, Farwell's Force member number 23 is the population of Funky Town. That's definitely a place, and that's the theme. Songs About Places on All Request Friday this week. On Fridays, we also do something for fun just called the Not $1 Million question, because I can't give you I can't give you $1 million if you get the answer, but we'll be impressed with you. And we're very impressed with Tina, because she came up with the answer to Not $1 Million question number 1 on our second guess this morning. 1 in 5 of us really hate this when we attend large events. I thought it was the long lineups for things. That's what Debbie thought. She was our first guess. Debbie and I were both wrong. And then Tina came through and said, I don't like when the camera's on me, especially the kiss camera. Tina, you nailed it. Kiss cam was the answer. So I always have a second one prepared. Let's see if we can get this one. I'll give you the answer before 10, but let's dive in. 60% of us admit we tell our partner this cost less than it really did. What is this that we tell our partner cost less than the actual price? 519-570-2545, star 570, and 1-800-570-5715. Paul, good morning.
Good morning, Mike. I have that answer right away, first one.
Really? Okay. What is it that you tell your partner cost less than it really did there, Paul?
It's all my fishing equipment that I have to buy.
I knew you were going to. Honest to goodness, I swear, I knew you were going to say that. Not the answer, my friend, but come on, plug Basstoberfest.
You know what else is going on?
What else is going on?
Alpine Club / Basstoberfest. The 26th edition of Basstoberfest is a go.
I've been seeing the headlines. I wanted to ask you about it. Give me more details, please.
It's happening on September the 12th, 26th. This year we're at Conestoga Lake Conservation Area up north of Waterloo. The tournament runs from 9 till 2. It's a gentleman's start, so there's no big blast-off. It's safe. And afterwards, we're all going to party at the Alpine Club with an Oktoberfest-style dinner, awards banquet. The trophies will be handed out. It'll be a fantastic day. Not just an event, but a fantastic day.
I love it, Paul. alpineclub.ca/Basstoberfest on September the 12th. Thank you, my friend.
Take care, Mike.
You too, Paul. It was not fishing equipment or what you spend on all that fishing gear. I knew that's what Paul was going to say. Terry, good morning.
Good morning, Mike. I'm actually number 291.
Farwell's Force member 291. Good to hear from you, my friend. What do you think it is? 6 in 10 of us don't tell our partner the real price of.
I had 2 really good choices, but I got to take one of them only.
Okay.
That would be the gym membership.
Really, the gym member? Terry, how much how much you paying for that gym membership there, buddy?
Well, actually, I negotiated. I've got 25 at Crunch and 25 at LA Fitness.
Okay, and what does your spouse think you're paying for those gym memberships?
$10 at Crunch.
You know what, Terry? What's $15 between partners?
Oh, yeah. It gave me sort of a hot bod at one time.
Attaboy. I'm sorry that's not the answer we're looking for, but good work by you.
Thank you.
Thanks, Terry. Great to hear from you. Farwell's Force member number 291. It's not what you spend on fishing gear. It's not what you spend on gym memberships. Brian, good morning.
Oh, you knew where this was going.
Let me guess. Your latest piece of vinyl.
It's vinyl collection and or stereo. Gotta be.
Very good guess, my friend. Very good guess, but not the answer we're looking for.
Okay, next time.
And I look forward to speaking to you next time, Monday morning, 11 a.m. for This Week in Music History.
I will be there.
Thanks, buddy. Talk to you then.
Have a good weekend.
You too. Bye-bye. That's a great guess. Of course, our musicologist friend who does This Week in Music History with us is going to guess that. And vinyl these days, like I used to buy albums for $10, a whole lot more than that, but not the answer we're looking for. Debbie, good morning.
Good morning.
Okay, we both failed on the first one. It's not the long lineups at the arenas. So what do we think this time?
The credit card bill?
The credit card bill. An excellent guess. That crossed my mind as well, but not the answer. And then in my mind, I got more specific and I thought, what about that new pair of shoes or that new item of clothing? Also not the answer we were looking for. The question, 60% of people admit they tell their partner this cost less than it really did. What is this? The food delivery receipt. Oh, that bag of food I just picked, that DoorDash order, it was only $19.98 instead of whatever it was. We do not tell our partner the truth about what we spend on food delivery, according to our not $1 million question, number 2, this morning. I'm going to get you an update from the 570 News Center, and then let's talk about running that marathon, but not by ourselves, with our spouse. I hope we told them what the food cost after the marathon. That's coming up on the Mike Farwell Show. This is 570 News Radio.
Who's the boy you like the most? Is it teasing you with underage? Could he be waving from a tropical sunset? Static silhouette somehow. Single in his bed Sunday. Quiet till it falls. Roam, 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 focus, looking forward, the Colosseum. Oh no, what did I say? What can I say? Roam, roam, many tears are falling here. I'll be driving, you look the other way.
I think I heard Rome. I think I heard Rome multiple times in that song by Phoenix on an All Request Friday. Songs about places, and how appropriate singing about Rome when a guy who was just there and there for a very specific reason joins me in studio. Scott Hamilton is a city councillor in Cambridge and also now a marathon runner. Good morning. Thanks for being here.
Morning, Mike. Thanks for having me this morning.
That song we played actually was part of your marathon playlist.
There's about 7 hours of music on this marathon playlist. And when you're running between 4 and 5 hours, you like to put it on shuffle. So it keeps you entertained. You never quite know what song is going to come on next. And so that song by Phoenix, Rome, came on at about kilometer 24. And I remember it distinctly thinking, all right, this is appropriate. We're about halfway through a marathon in Rome. And it's a reminder, this is where we are. Keep on running. Make it to the end of the song. Make it to the end of the race.
It was actually Scott's playlist and the suggestion that if you play this particular song, the theme could be songs about places, so it fits so well. I'm glad you pointed out that 24 kilometers is about halfway through a marathon. 42 kilometers, 42.1, not to pick a nit.
0.195.
They're even better. Okay, 42.195. That is no small feat, Scott Hamilton. How does one prepare for a 42.195 kilometer run?
Oof. Well, I started off my running career as a sprinter, Mike. And when I was younger, I would run 50 meters, 60 meters, 100 meters, 200. I was in the South Simcoe Dufferin Track Club. And I competed consistently over the years, very competitively. I was actually in the Ontario record books in my youth, although I'm sure that's long been surpassed by now.
What was the record for?
That was in the 100 meters.
Okay.
In the 60 meters. So sprints. But I was told at that time by very well-intentioned coaches and also my parents, hey, you're really fast, but you've got no stamina. So when you get to those bigger distances, you're just going to break down. Your body's not designed for it. Don't do more than a 10K or you're going to get hurt. And so for about 30 years, I had internalized that. I thought there's no way I can run more than a 10K. And even when I first moved to Cambridge for fun, I used to run on my birthday to show that I still had some athletic prowess. I'd run from Guelph to Blair and back. And I gave that up a few years ago because I thought, I'm just too old. I'm in my 40s now. I can't do this long 12K run. This is insane. And so to prepare for this marathon, it was actually, as you would say, my beloved or my spouse, my partner, my wife, Katie, she said, hey, this year you're turning 42. Let's do 42 kilometers. Let's train for a marathon. And I said, there's no way, like in HE double hockey sticks, you're going to get me running a marathon. You're insane. But she was really engaged. She was really energetic. She set that goal. She started training, and then she started bringing me along with her. And so she brought me out on a 12K run. I completed it, and that led to a 13-kilometer run with her. a 15-kilometer run. She's kind of coaching me through.
She tricked you, let's be honest.
She tricked me, but she, and all credit to Katie, she undid 30 years of this negative internalization that I couldn't run a distance by just saying, here's your goal. We do it in slow, steady increments. And you have someone behind you that cares about you, that supports you. And so training, you start small, every day, do a little bit more. It was hard in a Canadian winter because if there's anyone out there that's trained for a run, especially a marathon, you need to do it over a period of months and you need to do it very consistently. So this winter, when it was those minus 20 days in February, like you have no choice but to layer up and head on out there and do the best you can.
Yeah, not for the faint of heart, that's for sure. And you mentioned having Katie as a training partner, which is fantastic. I wonder about the marathon itself then, Scott, because I was talking to a coworker this morning about this segment on the show, and she said she could never do a marathon with her husband because he's got really long legs. He would be you, and Christine is about my height, so much shorter stride. She said they did a half together, but she felt as though her husband was slowing down in order that they could stay together. How did you and Katie pace one another over the 42.195 kilometers?
It actually worked out really well. Call it a counterbalance or a counterweight, depending on how you look at it. But the race started off, and picture yourself, it's a sunny March 22nd morning in Rome with 36,000 of your best friends. The race starts, and there's people around you from all around the world, right? Like you've got China, Brazil, Mexico, Philippines, Great Britain, United States, Italy, of course. My instinctive the sprinter inside me, those sprinting instincts would kick off and I'd want to go faster than I should. And Katie would be like, nope, you got to pace yourself. We got to slow down. And that was pretty much the dynamic between us for the first half of the race. And then the counterbalancing kicked in where once you hit about 30 kilometers of a marathon, you enter a zone kind of called the wall. When you're in the wall, that's when you actually see people that maybe haven't trained or aren't feeling their best that day. They start getting sick. You do see people vomiting on the side of the course, people passing out, people are being supported by their friends, people just leave the course. And so when we hit the wall, I was that one kind of like an excited kid saying, come on, let's go, let's pass more people. And I was kind of like pulling Katie with an invisible rope at times saying, come on, let's go forward, you can do it. So we balanced each other really well, where if she wasn't there at the start of the race to remind me to pace myself, I probably would have burned out at that wall. And if I wasn't there for the latter half of the race, she may have finished 30 minutes later than how we did. So our goal was not to run for a time. It was to train together, to do this together as a couple, to finish so our kids could see, hey, our parents work together. Sports are important, but working in a partnership and collaboration is even more important. And we did it together, right? And we thought finishing the race, working together, training together, that's going to be more important than any particular time we're chasing or position. So we're glad it worked out. We survived with the photos to prove it. And it was an amazing experience overall.
You run this marathon in Italy, but you take a little bit of Canada with you, which is always a good idea when you're traveling internationally. You've brought some beautiful Captain Canuck United Way stickers into the studio this morning, and I thank you for that. But Captain Canuck and other Canadian paraphernalia was a part of this experience for both you and Katie.
Yeah, it was a lot of fun. Repping Canada kind of on an international stage, and especially Cambridge, I had plastered over the front of my shirt. And they say when you're training for a marathon, when the marathon day comes, don't alter your training significantly. Do what you've done in your training and let the adrenaline take you through. And so I thought, well, I've always trained in a toque because it was the winter, the dead of winter. So I'm wearing my toque. So I rocked my Canadian Tire toque, which got a lot of happy shout-outs from people in the stands. Canadian Tire, all right, Canada. I had Cambridge, Ontario on a jersey that I had made. It had my parents' initials on it as well, so they could kind of run the race with me in spirit. And my kids' initials were on the back of this Cambridge jersey. And my socks, of course, I had to rock my classic Captain Canuck socks. So you have your compression socks, your Nike socks that are designed to withstand running 43 kilometers, but on top of that, I had to rock the captain because you got to get some Canadian street cred on the cobblestones of Rome, and he did. We had lots of Canadians on the sidelines shout out, "All right, Cambridge, like keep going," And when you go through that wall, especially the last 5 kilometers of a marathon, it's the cheers and the excitement of the crowd that really keeps you going. And, life can be competitive and stressful at times. It can get us down, especially in the world of city council, right? It can be stressful. Running culture, for anyone that hasn't participated in it, it's just so happy and energetic and motivating. And you just have complete strangers that have this unwielding sense of positivity and support for you. So when you're at mile or kilometer 38 of a marathon and you hear all these cheers going out for, yeah, go Cambridge, go Canada, you can do it, you can finish. It just gives you this real sense of togetherness, collaboration, and accomplishment, right? That you can accomplish and reach these goals that you never thought possible. And you have a lot of people behind you that you don't know, but they just want you to accomplish that positive goal. So it's a really great feeling, Mike.
Boston, New York, Toronto waterfront, all kinds of options for marathons, Scott. Why Rome?
Well, Katie is half Italian, so we have gone to Italy consistently to visit her family since we met almost 20 years ago. Never did we think a marathon was possible, and the stars lined up for this. So our children were there because Nona happened to be in Italy, right? My mother-in-law, she could watch the kids. And Rome is, for anyone who hasn't been to Rome, it's one of the most beautiful cities on the planet. So if you're going to run 42 kilometers, Mike, why not do it in one of those cradles of kind of Western civilization? Like you're running by the Colosseum, you're running by the Spanish Steps, the Vatican as well, the Pantheon. Like the amount of sights that you actually see running the Rome Marathon is substantial. And it is a great distraction because you get so tired. You start questioning your sanity. So when you look up and see something like the Colosseum, it's a very helpful distraction when you're at 40 kilometers.
Full disclosure, Scott, you mentioned getting older, being into your 40s. So let's run 42.195 kilometers as you turn 42. I also, many years ago, ran a marathon. I was turning 30 and thought I was old. So you know now how far back this goes. We're decades back, but I decided I needed to do this when I got into my 30s. And I can confidently say that I have not run the sum total of 42.195 kilometers since. Are you going to do it again? Did it leave enough of an impression that, yeah, I'm now a distance runner?
Yes, we've actually already signed up for the next one.
Oh, my goodness. Well, you a bunch of knuckleheads in Cambridge, let me tell you.
Well, it's funny. It was actually during a break in a council meeting because we ran the marathon, and a day and a half later, I logged into city council from Rome. And at that point in time, it would have been maybe 9 p.m. Council had a break, so about 2 a.m. Rome time. And I'm sitting at the computer kind of scrolling through. I just finished a marathon, feeling pretty good. The body's in shape. What's up next? The Toronto Marathon is in May. All right. Click sign up. Katie said yes. So we thought a bird in the hand is worth 2 in the bush. We've got a bird in the hand in Toronto. Like, let's just do this again together. And so we plan again. We'll run another one together. We're going to start together, finish together. And it's been a great activity for us as a couple to accomplish goals we never thought possible. And I guess that's a lesson in life, right? For 30 years, I thought this was absolutely never going to happen for me. But then if you set a goal, you have people encouraging you, you never know what you can accomplish with those things behind you.
It's incredible. And at least now, between now and the Toronto Marathon in May, you're not going to need your toque. Or are you still going to wear it when you train?
I think I'll miss it if I don't wear it.
Yeah, but we might get some hot, muggy days between now and then, Scott.
Yeah, pure nostalgia. I know the Captain Canuck socks will be there. I'll definitely wear the Cambridge shirt. And you know what? I might rock the Canadian Tire toque as well, right? It's the triple threat. You got to complete the set.
I like it. It's a great story. I love that you and Katie were able to do this together, and you're continuing to do it together. How'd you feel afterwards? Physically, I mean.
Oh, I mean, you're shattered.
Yeah,
right? During
it's
the race,
a lot.
And I don't know how you felt, but once you go through the wall, it's a mental game because your body starts sending you messages that your brain doesn't know how to handle. So at one point, running past the Spanish Steps, I remember thinking, all right, I've either got a huge blister or my shoe is full of blood or it's all in my head. But I can't stop to think about it. And finished the race, it was all in my head. So after the race, I knew I could not sit down until I was in a safe spot where I would not have to get up for hours. And so that's exactly what we did. We walked to a cafe Our family was around. We sat down. We had our phones with us and said, all right, we're not going to leave here for about 3 hours. Just sit down and relax. But after that race, Mike, and for anyone out there who's a runner or playing sports in generally, like, your body's been working hard beyond its limits for 4.5 hours, 4 hours. You get really cold and you get really thirsty and really hungry. So there's a safety element to it as well, right? You need liquids, you need carbs, you need clothing, or you can go into a state of shock in a certain sense. So luckily we were safe and sound. We looked after each other, and it was a huge relief and a big reward, I think.
The telltale sign from my marathon attempt was the very end. You can see it in the picture of me crossing the finish line, because not too far behind me is an elderly gentleman. Remember, I did this when I was early 30s. I was 31 because I felt like I was getting old. This gentleman had to be pushing 70. And as I was coming towards the finish line, he was ahead of me. And I'm like, the hell with this. This is not something So I gave everything I had left in the tank just so I could finish slightly ahead of the man who was probably 40 years my senior. That is my marathon.
What marathon did you run, Mike? That's great.
The Burlington Rock and Roll Marathon.
Nice.
I don't even know if it still exists.
That's appropriate. If there's one marathon Mike Farwell is going to run, it's the Rock and Roll Marathon.
There you go. As we played some rock and roll from Phoenix on our Songs About Places All Request Friday, enjoyed this chat, as I do all of the chats with you. Thanks for being here this morning.
Thanks for having me on,
And
Mike.
congrats.
Thank you. Yeah, I really appreciate it. Thank you.
Scott Hamilton, he is a city councillor. He is a fundraiser with United Way, Waterloo Region Communities. He's a marathon runner, and he joins the Mike Farwell Show this morning on 570 News Radio.
She's coming in 12:30 flight. The moonlit wings reflect the stars that guide me towards salvation. I stopped an old man along the way, hoping to find some old forgotten words or ancient melodies. He turned to me as if to say, hurry boy, it's waiting there for you. Gonna take a lot to drag me away from you. There's nothing that 100 men or more could ever do. I bless the rains down in Africa.
All right, there it is. Like you knew it had to. If we're doing a theme of songs about places, of course, Africa shows up as one of those places, right? Toto on your All Request Friday. Bob, Craig, and Heather all wanted to hear about Africa on this All Request Friday. Songs about places. It is that time of the show where we take a moment to remind you, and rightly so. I mean, I started the show today talking about somebody who I thought on the road yesterday, Highway 78 getting off at Tressler Road, was not just a bit of, but kind of a lot of a jackwagon, screaming up the left lane, then pulling over into the right lane because they had to get off, and they're the only vehicle on the road, right? And when they pull over into the right lane, they're taking the space that I was leaving between me and the car in front of me, hammering on their brakes, slowing everybody down. You're not supposed to do it that way. I was talking about jackwagon-like behavior, but every day on the show around this time, we like to remind you that not everybody is a jackwagon, including in a city that is notorious for, almost known for, its rude residents, New York City. But wouldn't you know, it's a little American woodcock that is bringing New Yorkers together like you wouldn't believe. This little bird making its trek north after a winter away has found its resting spot in Bryant Park in New York. And it has become a viral sensation because of its little bobbing dance. And you should see this little sucker. Every time it takes a step, one leg comes up and its body kind of bubbles out. It's quite cute. If I may be honest with you, it's a very cute little viral sensation, the American woodcock that has found a little nesting place in Bryant Park in New York. And New Yorkers are so smitten by this itty-bitty little birdie that they actually pull up chairs. They crowd around by the dozens at a time just to watch the little American woodcock do its bobbing dance. Some folks go out of their way to make time after work just to come and watch the little bobbing dance for a little while after work. It's the little things. It's taking time for the little things. Stop and smell the roses. Stop and watch the American woodcock do its bobbing dance in Bryant Park in New York. And even those fast-paced, foul-mouthed New Yorkers can be calm and peaceful and appreciative of a cute little bird doing its bobbing dance. A good reminder for us to remember the little things, notice the little things, and remember that not everybody is a jackwagon. I'm going to get you to the 570 News Center for your 10:30 update. Before 11, we're checking in with the KW Titans. They won last night in Windsor. They are one win away from advancing in their playoffs, and the Kitchener Rangers have advanced in their playoffs. Round 2 begins tonight, and head coach UC Ahokas joins us next for the Coaches Show on the Mike Farwell Show. This is 570 News Radio. It is the sound you hear when the Kitchener Rangers score a goal. And it's also the sound you hear every Friday morning at this time during the Rangers season, because it signals the beginning of the Coaches Show with Rangers head coach UC Ahokas. And every goal the team scores now means more than the last goal, because we are getting deeper into the playoffs as round 2 with the Sault Ste. Marie Greyhounds opens tonight. And from the Memorial Auditorium, head coach UC Ahokas is with us. Good morning, UC.
Good morning.
You are nominated for OHL Coach of the Year. You won the award last year, so I guess you just want to win it every year. But what does it mean to you to get that recognition from the league?
Of course, great, honored. But it's also for our whole coaching staff. That's how I think of it. We work great as a staff, and that's always the byproduct that the head coach gets the glory. But I think I'm not winning it this year. They don't give it back-to-back years. So, but I'm really honored to be in that group, and of course last year winning it. So, but yeah, it just, for me, it tells we work well with the whole coaching staff, and we've done a good job.
Well, we will see how it works out. You are just a nominee, and there are other quality nominees for sure, but back-to-back 100-point seasons for the first time ever, third most points in franchise history this year. We'll see how it works out. And one of the awards that has been handed out is the Leo Lalonde Award for Top Overage Player, and that goes to Jack Pridham this year. 3 years in a row. Every year you've been here, UC, one of your overage players has been recognized with that trophy. What has Jack Pridham meant to the Kitchener Rangers this year?
Of course, he brings a lot of speed, goal scoring. All in all, like, just a big part of for us when we've needed big goals. He's been able to do that. And PK, he's been huge. All in all, you want your overagers to be your top guys, and I think he's done that this year. And same as Parson was last year, or Matthew Sopp the year before. You need your overagers to kind of show the way and play well, and I think that tells also, like, we've done a good job in scouting and recruiting when they were been young, and when you come to Kitchener Rangers, you keep developing. So I think that's one part of it.
You finished off Saginaw in the minimum number of games, so it's been more than a week since we've played some hockey. How do you feel about that length of time off at this time of the year, the whole rest versus rust? Is it more important to have the rest, or would you rather just keep things going and not get rusty?
I think it depends if the other team has. Well, we had 8 days. Sioux had 7, so I think that's even. But for sure it does. You rather have the rest than just keep like we would play 7 games and then you have to start right away. So it's I think it's always a new series, but you definitely want the rest and be ready. But yeah, it's been a little bit weird. It's like a Christmas break between. So it's yeah. But no, we had good 2 days off, and we've had good practices and kind of get ready, and everybody's waiting that the series will start.
I wondered about how you would spend that time. Do you work on anything specific after you rest during this time off?
Of course, we go through Sioux and kind of address how we want to play against them and special teams and things like that. A lot work on just that we're ready when the puck drops. That's more and kind of just maintaining that we're in best physical shape when the games continue.
The Sault Ste. Marie Greyhounds have a lot of weapons, from the net in Carter George to Brady Martin up front and a whole lot more. The games just get harder from here on in. You see, what challenges do the Sault Greyhounds present for your club?
Well, of course, they play the stretch game. They play deep trap. They have a good first line for sure. We have to be aware of that, and of course, with Carter George being a great goalie, like we have to find traffic and get net front, and then find our goal and use our scoring opportunities when we have them. And but yeah, they're a good team. They're well coached, so it's going to be a good series, and we have to be dial on, and like it should be in playoffs. Every round it should be a little bit harder, and I think, but we play our game and we're on. We have a good chance, but let's go one game at a time.
Can't wait for this one to get underway. I've been waiting all week for this. UC, we'll see you at the rink tonight. Thank you very much for this.
All right, thanks a lot.
All right, bye-bye.
Bye.
UC Ahokas, the head coach of your Kitchener Rangers and a nominee for OHL Coach of the Year. He doesn't think he's going to win it, but it's a testament to the entire staff. And as I said, yeah, other qualified candidates, nominees for sure, but you can make the argument for a guy that, as part of that staff, just led the Kitchener Rangers to their 3rd highest point total in franchise history, 101. Back-to-back 100-point seasons for the first time in franchise history, more than 60 years. It's never happened before. It just happened now. And UC Ahokas says, well, you know, they don't give it out back-to-back. Well, they did 6 years ago. Andre Tourigny with the Ottawa 67s. He's now coaching in the National Hockey League, Andre Tourigny is. But he won it in 2019 and 2020. Just putting it out there. Listen, UC's not wrong. Other very good candidates for this award this year. Whatever the case is, a nominee for Coach of the Year, the 3rd straight overager of the year in Jack Pridham, and that's an OHL record. No team has had back-to-back-to-back overage trophy winners as the best overager in the league. Started with Matt Sopp, then to Jackson Parsons, now to Jack Pridham. So certainly a feather in the Rangers' cap and a testament to finding these players in the draft and developing them through your organization. No question about that. But to the matter at hand, I mean, I don't know about you, but can we just go to the rink right now? Come on with your coming on. It is game day, baby. Playoff game day. And you know that we have you covered from pillar to post right here on this radio station, your home of Kitchener Rangers hockey. It's all going to start with the Harris Law pregame show tonight at 6:30. Josh Piercy and I will get you all of the information you need, set the game up, get you ready for it. Puck drop just after 7. We'll play the game. We'll bring you all the action. And then JP and I stick around late, take your calls, Rangers talk time. Going to have a great time. It's game 1, round 2. I loved the atmosphere in round 1. I can't wait to, you're turning it up a notch tonight, aren't you? I know you are. I cannot wait for the game. It's going to be a great series. So stay with us because we've got you covered. looking around the Ontario Hockey League, round 2 is underway on 2 other fronts. They got underway. The round 2 of the playoffs did on Wednesday, and the Brantford Bulldogs absolutely walloped the North Bay Battalion 8-1 in Game 1. So the Bulldogs out to the 1-0 series lead. And then last night, the Barrie Colts doubled up on the Ottawa 67s 4-2. So the Colts have a 1-0 series lead in that one. Tonight, along with your Kitchener Rangers hosting the Sault Ste. Marie Greyhounds, we've got a couple of other games. The other Western Conference series gets underway. The Windsor Spitfires home to the Flint Firebirds. They open that series. And Brantford home to North Bay for Game 2. So the Battalion would love to get that road split, but it won't be easy because that is a very good Brantford Bulldogs team. So Josh and I will keep you up to date on out-of-town scores as we go through our game tonight as well. 2 other series in action. Looking at the playoff leaders through the first round of these playoffs, you'll find Christian Humphreys of the Kitchener Rangers in the top 10 of playoff scoring. 9 points for Humphreys in just 4 games played. Jacob Battaglia of the Flint Firebirds, 15 points in 4 games. I'm not taking anything away from Owen Sound, but oh my goodness, did the Flint Firebirds ever fillet the Owen Sound attack in round number 1? So that might be a slightly inflated number. But nonetheless, Battaglia leads the way with 15 points, but not a bad showing at all for Christian Humphreys. 9 points in 4 games, leading the Rangers and 9th in the OHL playoff scoring race as the Rangers get set to open round 2 tonight at the Grand Ole Dame on East Avenue. Games 1 and 2 at the Memorial Auditorium in Kitchener. And again, we've got you covered on your home of Kitchener Rangers hockey. Everything gets started with the pregame show tonight at 6:30. And, of course, Rangers head coach UC Ahokas will join us on Friday mornings for the coaches' show throughout this year's playoffs. We're going to take a quick break. When we come back, speaking of playoffs, I'm not talking about, I'm talking about playoffs. You're darn right I am. And I think I'm going to ask, actually, if I have to stop going to KW Titans games, because I think I'm the bad luck charm. The Titans went on the road last night to Windsor, and they beat up the Windsor Express pretty good to take a 2-1 series lead. And they're 1 win away now from advancing in the Basketball Super League playoffs. When we went to the game last Saturday, Farwell for Hire Day, with the KW Titans, the Titans lost. And I think we've seen 1 win and 2 losses in the games we went to this year. That's a bad record for my beloved and I. We'll see if they'll let us back into the building as they try to move on. But we'll check in with the Titans and their 2-1 series lead in their playoff series with Windsor. That's coming up. Stay with us here on the Mike Farwell Show this morning. This is 570 News Radio. A little bit of Patsy Gallant for you, and from New York to L.A. on this All Request Friday. Songs About Places edition. We are going from Kitchener to Windsor, which we do a couple of times of year with the Kitchener Rangers for playoff games with the Spitfires, and that's what the KW Titans have done, gone from Kitchener to Windsor to continue their playoff series with the Windsor Express. And a big win last night for our KW Titans, taking a 2-1 series lead as we welcome the team's co-owner, David Schooley, to the show this morning. David, good morning.
Good morning, Michael.
And head coach Cliff Clinkscales, Coach Cliff joins us as well. Coach Cliff, good morning to you.
Good morning, Mike. Thanks for having us again.
Always a pleasure, sir. Always a pleasure. Look, you must have been disappointed after losing Game 2 at home, but you rebounded with a big win last night in Windsor. What helped you be successful last night, Coach Cliff?
we was locked in on the defensive end. That's what we need against this team who creates problems on the offensive end. They led the league in 3-point made and 3-point attempts. So we have to be connected on defense, and I think we brung our hard hats and our lunch pail on the road with us, and we got the win.
I thought that very thing when I saw that the Express were only able to score 77 points against you last night. I think that speaks to how impressive you were defensively in that game, Coach Cliff.
Yes, it's something we keyed in on film and practice. Guys holding themselves accountable and knowing that against this team, that's what we're going to need, our best defensive effort, and that's one of the best we had all year and some years here. So very impressive win, but you know how the playoffs go. It only counts for one win, so we got to be able to get ready for Game 4 now.
David, what's life like on the road in Windsor with the basketball club?
Well, you know what, Mike, we headed out yesterday afternoon, and it was raining, and we got to Windsor, and the sun was out, and it was 20 degrees. It was a great sign.
And clearly it paid off for the team's big win. What does it mean to you, David, and the ownership group to have the Titans one win away from advancing? And really, I know we've been talking about it all year, pushing towards a championship. But what would that mean to this community and your group?
Yeah, you know what, Mike? We're in the championship mode in Kitchener right now. You know, the Rangers are doing a great job, and you know I think Cliff would agree. In 4 seasons that we've been together, this is the best team he's ever put on the court.
What makes it the best team, Coach Cliff?
I think we deep from 1 to 12. These guys get along. Their attitude is in the right spot. They allow me and Coach J-Mo and Coach Q and Coach Siakam to get after them and push them. And I think that's the main thing. We got a good group of guys, high character guys, and they all get along.
They always say, and you mentioned earlier, Coach Cliff, that in the playoffs it's just one win. Then you got to get ready for the next win, one game at a time. They always say the game to close out a series is the toughest one to win. So what do you have to do against Windsor in their barn tomorrow to move on in this series, Cliff?
First, we got to watch the film, get better, see the things that we could clean up. You know, every game is different in the playoffs, so I'm quite sure they're going to have an adjustment. We're going to have to make some adjustments. So it's going to be the same thing. We're going to need some grit. We're going to need some toughness, and we're going to need some togetherness. And just make sure we try to keep a crowd out of it and not let them allow to go on big runs.
I have to ask both of you a really important question. I mentioned it before the break. I'm pretty sure that my record when I attended games this year to watch you guys play, I have a losing record. I'm starting to feel, and you guys hardly lost any games all year for crying out loud. I'm starting to feel like a bad luck charm. And if we move on to the next round, am I welcome back at the Memorial Auditorium, Coach Cliff?
Yes, you always welcome back. We need you. Feel like with you helping us out all year in the last couple of seasons, it can help us to get more people in the seats, and that's not up to you if we winning or losing. That's up to us what we taking care of on the court. So you always welcome at the odd.
I appreciate you. David, is that okay with you? Do I get the Coach Cliff stamp of approval here?
So you know what? The chemistry of this team, that's what's gonna make the win, right? And you know, Cliff is right. You know, we need and we so appreciate the time we get to spend with you, right? We're a little behind this year. I'm going to call out the Kitchener Record, and anybody that is subscribing to them, they put out one article early January, and then after I grumbled at them a week ago, they finally put out another one. Right, that people want to hear about local sports, right? The Rangers and high school basketball. They don't want to just hear about everything else that's going on in the world. That's why we have the Record here. It's a local paper, right?
From your lips to their ears, David, we're going to be watching very closely. We've got Rangers tonight. We've got the KW Titans looking to close out that series tomorrow afternoon in Windsor.
And we've got Farwell for hire. 2 signs since we spoke last time with little sold stickers on them for you, Mike, and I've got 3 more going up on Monday.
It's $1,000 per sign if we still have the same arrangement, right?
100%, Mike. Whether you come to the game or not, we've got to get we've got to get you working hard this year and getting the community working hard behind you.
I appreciate it, guys. Coach Cliff, go get him tomorrow, and we'll see you back in Kitchener.
Yes, please, all the people that can support us, drive down to Windsor for Saturday Game 4. We need the help, and please, everybody keep David Schooley, Kate Schooley, and Bob Schooley, his brother, in y'all prayers, please. We appreciate it.
Appreciate you saying that, too. Absolutely have all of our very best thoughts, love, and those prayers as well. Coach Cliff, David, thank you very much for being with us this morning.
Thank you, Mike. Thank you. Thanks again.
Cliff Clinkscales is the head coach of the KW Titans. David Schooley, co-owner of the club. Since Coach Cliff brought it up, I'll just share with you. You've no doubt heard, and I heard it yesterday afternoon on the All News Afternoons about that terrible crash that claimed the lives of Cambridge residents and others from Tillsonburg. OPP updating us yesterday that 2 people who had been critically injured and were on life support have succumbed to their injuries. Those were all members of David Schooley's extended family. And we do send our very best to them as they continue to focus on these playoffs. Titans can close it out versus Windsor tomorrow with a win. And we'll keep our eyes on that, and hopefully they'll come back to the Kitchener Memorial Auditorium and play for a Basketball Super League title. An update from the 570 News Center is coming up, and then our Friday 4 Roundtable, a discussion of the week's big stories, is next on The Mike Farwell Show. This is 570 News Radio.
Drive west on Sunset to the sea. Turn that jungle music down, just until we're out of town. This is no one night stand, it's a real occasion. Close your eyes and you'll be there. It's everything they say. The end of a perfect day. Distant lights from across the bay. Babylon Sister, shake it.
Little bit of Steely Dan and Babylon Sisters by request from Andrea on this All Request Friday. Songs about places. Friday also means our Friday 4 Roundtable. You are in the right place for that as we have a discussion of the week's big stories with 3 invited guests. Those guests this morning are Sam Nabby, who's a project coordinator with 1 Million Neighbors. Sam, good to see you. Good morning.
Thanks for having me, Mike.
Always a pleasure. Janice Jim is with us as well, Vice President, Cycle Waterloo Region. Janice, welcome back. Good morning.
Good morning.
And Marjorie Knight, a family outreach worker and a good friend of the show with the House of Friendship, will be joining us momentarily. She'll be on midstream, but we're going to dive in with Sam and Janice as we get things underway. And one of the big stories of the week is yet another floor crossing. It seems as though everybody is welcome under the big Liberal tent. Sam, what do you make about the latest recruit to Mark Carney's Liberal Party?
Yeah, you have to wonder how big a tent can get before it's something other than a tent. I mean, this floor crossing is a little surprising, even though I know we've had a lot of them, because this is someone who was a candidate for leadership of the Conservative Party. This is someone who voted against a Liberal motion to ban conversion therapy. It seems like there really is nothing that's off the table when it comes to a past track record of people that Mark Carney's willing to accept into his party.
Janice, what do you make of this latest recruit?
Well, the line's been going around is how big does a tent become until it becomes a circus. So I think... So, and for a guy who wrote a book called Values, you're really questioning where his values are for them to accept the latest member who has a track record, really interesting track record. I had to look into it, of anti-abortion, transphobic comments, racist comments. It really, does draw some attention. So yeah, I think it just shows you the liberals, they're just after the votes. They're not after, the values. They're at the convention right now. Let's see what they are gonna, support and vote on. But it just shows you Carney's is after his majority, and then all his policies that he's done has been the most right wing liberal policies. So I think the more right wing things are yet to come once they get their majority. And he shows you he stops at nothing to take anyone, right? who's next coming into the Liberals?
Yeah, it's really surprising, and that's a word that keeps coming to mind for me when I'm reading about the news in the last couple of days. And maybe I shouldn't be surprised, but it's really about this pragmatism over policy, or pragmatism over values, as Janice was saying. One interesting tidbit with this floor crossing that I've seen going around is that it comes from an MP in an area of southwestern Ontario and Sarnia that's very, very blue. And I don't know if this is even about trying to flip that seat, because I don't see how Marilyn Gladu goes to run as a Liberal and gets reelected, or gets nominated again as a Conservative. I don't think that's happening, of course. But is the Liberal strategy in southwestern Ontario to try to get those Conservative seats after the fact instead of actually competing for them in an election? It's very bizarre to me. And I don't see how this benefits beyond the next election cycle.
And just to follow on that point, Sam, I mean, are the Liberals more interested in getting the Conservative seats after the fact instead of competing for them in an election? And I'll swing it back around to you, Janice, because you also asked an interesting question, like who is next? It seems that Mark Carney is really only after the votes or the seats that people have already voted for. One of the jokes I heard that next are Andrew Scheer and Pierre Poilievre crossing the floor, which of course is just one of those internet jokes. But I wonder, we know that this is something that can be done within our Westminster parliamentary system. And it has been done before 5 times, though, in the last 5-6 months or so. It seems a little bit egregious. Is this changing your tune at all, Janice, when it comes to the practice of crossing the floor?
It's definitely an interesting quirk in our system. It just, gives us pause to examine the system. I think this is a good time, and also makes me think harder at the next election. Can I trust this candidate to stay in the party? How loyal are they? Am I voting for the person? I'm voting for the party. How loyal are they? Will they switch? When there's an incentive, enticement. So. Brings a little bit of a morality into it. Usually I choose by policy and a background experience, but it definitely gives, a lot of people pause about the next election.
Marjorie Knight has made her way to a spot around our table this morning. Marjorie, always nice to see you first and foremost. You're always welcome here. You're very welcome.
Thank you.
What do you make of the latest floor crossing? Marilyn Gladu goes from Conservative to Liberal.
It used to be that these things were far-flung. You rarely saw them. And it, created some titillation and, but these last few months have been really disturbing. The first thing that comes to my mind is that, we're usually pretty fixated on which party we are in, and we're usually working and pushing towards goals and policies and beliefs. So for 5 people to move over to a party that they supposedly have never really invested in, that's big. That's very big. And then the other thing that makes me look at is that, well, then I guess they're not really very different. And maybe the only difference is the leader. I don't know. But it leads to a lot of interesting thoughts. It's really a very big thing that we would have so many and significant MPs move parties that they've been with for years, invested in, stood up for, fought against the Liberals. I mean, how many times we've heard about terrible things about the Liberal Party, and now all of a sudden it's okay to cross over and sit in their caucus.
I think
things that make you go,
I think the question about the leader is a very good one. There's been some commentary around what does this mean about Pierre Poilievre's leadership on the one side, and then, of course, Mark Carney's on the other. And listen, the support that Pierre Poilievre very recently got at a leadership review, I am skeptical of that, quite frankly, at this point, when you see so many people leaving the blue tent to find room under perhaps what is the circus now with the red tent Liberals. Sam, I'll throw it to you for another thought.
Yeah, quickly on leadership. I mean, Poilievre got a 87% thereabouts approval rating, and that was from members who were at the convention. That doesn't speak to the level of support of all Conservative supporters across the country. That doesn't speak to the level of support of MPs within his caucus. And so I think we have to look at these numbers a little differently depending on who we're talking about. Then when it comes to Carney, I mean, he's running the government like a business. This is his approach, and this is his background. And I really think for him, it's not about parliamentary process or making sure that there's a consistency between the platform that he ran on and the way that he's governing, but getting this majority at all costs and getting things done fast, whether they're well considered and full of public consultation or not. This is the approach, and I think there are a lot of Conservatives that can see themselves reflected in that approach, regardless of the party banner.
Sam Nabby, Janice Jim, and Marjorie Knight are with us on the Friday Four Roundtable this morning. We'll take a quick break. When we come back, I guess Wilmot's water is all of our water, right? At least based on a decision from Regional Council this week. We'll talk about it with our roundtable this morning. It's the Friday Four on the Mike Farwell Show, 570 News Radio.
Grew up in a town that is famous as a place of movie scenes. Noise is always loud. There are sirens all around, and the streets are mean. If I can make it here, I can make it anywhere. That's what they say. See my face in lights, on my name, a monkey's found down on Broadway. Even if it ain't all it seems, I got a pocket full of dreams, baby. I'm from New York, concrete jungle where dreams are made of. There's nothing you can't do.
Oh, I can't get enough of that one right there. Empire State of Mind, Alicia Keys by request for Clinton on this All Request Friday. Songs About Places edition. I had the chance to meet Alicia Keys once. Just as lovely as her voice is Ms. Keys. Let me tell you that. Fantastic choice. And I feel like I may have forgotten to tell you that Babylon Sisters by Steely Dan earlier is for Andrea. Andrea, I'm sorry if I forgot that. Our Friday Four Roundtable underway. Janice Jim, Sam Nabby, Marjorie Knight here with us. Let's talk about water, because here in Waterloo Region, that is one of, if not the biggest issues that we are facing. We don't have enough right now. Development on pause. We're trying to figure out how to make things better. And I guess one of the things we're going to do is share Wilmot's water with the rest of the region. A staff report this week said we can do this without negatively impacting the township. But Janice, I'll start with you. An agreement that goes back to 1980 overturned. We don't need that anymore. We can take 30 liters of water per second from Wilmot to support the entire community. What do you think, Janice?
I think overall it's a bad deal for Wilmot, but we need it for the region because our housing projects and a lot of new buildings are being stalled by the lack of water. So I think it's a temporary fix, and this gives the region, more room to figure out this crisis. And it benefits the region as a whole because we can't put our building permits on hold while we figure out the water crisis. So it's just another temporary measure, and obviously it's not great for the residents that have their wells impacted. So not sure what to tell them if their wells dry up because of the region.
Yeah, that's the tough part when it becomes so personal and individual to some of those residents in the township. But I guess in one sense, what we're saying is what worked or what might have been necessary in 1980 is no longer necessary in 2026. That's when the original agreement to not take Wilmot's water was reached. Sam, what do you make of this?
Yeah, it's a really difficult discussion, and it's so mired in details. And I think honestly, people talking past each other because I don't think we're talking about the same things when it comes to the residents of Wilmot who are being impacted versus what's being addressed in this staff report. So, I'm hearing from organizations like Citizens for Safe Groundwater that there are over 21 private wells of people that have been impacted by this. And they're seeing their water drop. They're seeing the impacts. They are not able to get the water that they've been having and that they're used to. And that's in a particular part of Wilmot, in the Wilmot Center wells. And then in the staff report, they say it's okay that we're pumping more in the Wilmot Center wells because there's enough in the rest of Wilmot. And despite these localized impacts, we think it's okay and we think it's sustainable. But we've glossed over this whole issue of the fact that the agreement from 1980 was violated. And, you can call it a temporary pumping measure. You can call it a test, but a test that goes on for 5 years is not what most people think of when they think of a temporary test. And this is, goes back to the comments from last week or a couple of weeks ago about a breach of trust where, there are concerns being raised on a specific issue, and then we see in the staff report that they don't even really acknowledge or reckon with the fact that this water taking agreement was breached, and they slide on to say, well, we're meeting the flow rates based on our provincial water taking permit. So it's a shifting of the goalposts. It's we really need a serious addressing of the concerns of the residents if we're going to move forward here, because I don't think this stops in Wilmot. As we figure out our water issues throughout this region, we're going to have a lot of discussions about pulling water from one area of the region to another and how we best do that and how we deal with these localized impacts, and actually try to make these neighbors whole and address the fact that their wells have run dry.
That breach of trust is a big one for me, and it's not something I think that we can paper over almost literally with a report that says, well, it's okay now and it's always been okay. The fact that agreement was contravened for as long as it was is troubling to me for sure. Marjorie, what do you make of it? Well, you're still on mute, Marjorie. That's okay.
Whoops. My first thought that comes to mind is this the same staff who worked on the water plan before and were just so surprised when all of a sudden we didn't have enough water? And if this is the same team that was surprised that we didn't have enough water, how can they really guarantee me that this is really going to be a sustainable solution? Because we were supposed to have a sustainable water supply before this. There were no worries. There were no queries. Just came to an abrupt halt that, oh my gosh, we have a problem with water. My worry is that they just looked at the first place that had water and say, oh, well, we'll just take it from here. My second question is, are there any farms that are going to be affected by this? Because have you seen the price of food lately? Are any of these farms being affected by this water if they start to increase the flow from there? And are people like Nestle or whoever else still going to be allowed to be drawing their water? And maybe if they weren't drawing quite so much water, maybe we wouldn't have to be taking quite so much water from Wilmot. There are a lot of questions. You know, the region was not very respectful to Wilmot in the first place when they were doing that huge land grab and trying to discuss whether or not they were putting what kind of building or industry there and whether or not it would affect the water there, the wells there, whether it would affect the aquifer. You know, they weren't very responsive to those things. Are they going to be responsive now? There are just so many questions that I have in regards to how this is going down with the region and water. This is water. We have to be very, very serious. We can't make it. We can't regenerate it quickly. So what we do and how we affect people's lives is very serious. And yes, I know, for the good of the most, for, you know, the general public versus a very small population. But if you start looking at farms and farming and production, then it's not really very small. It will affect us all in many different ways. And so we have to be very, very careful when we're doing this. And maybe the team needs to go back and look. Like Sam is saying, how is it affecting people in Wilmot? If their wells are running dry, that's a lot of water, and that's a serious implication.
I have spoken to a farmer in Wilmot who recognized the changes years ago and was kind of at the leading edge of this, as you would expect somebody who works the land to be. That was a conversation with a farmer, but I think I'm sure there are others who are like him. And yes, we also spoke to a family on the show whose well has occasionally gone dry and how they're dealing with that situation now. It's an uncomfortable spot to be in a progressive, a modern township. Not sure day to day if you're going to have water in your well. All right, we have to get you to the 570 News Center for an update. Our Friday Four Roundtable, Marjorie Knight, Janice Jim, Sam Nabby with us, and we continue the conversation. How about an appointed regional chair in October? Who's in favor of that idea from the province? We'll talk about it on the Mike Farwell Show, 570 News Radio. It is from the album of the same name, LA Woman by The Doors, on your All Request Friday. Songs about places. Fridays also mean our Friday Four Roundtable. With us around the table this morning, Marjorie Knight, family outreach worker with the House of Friendship. Janice Jim, vice president at Cycle Waterloo Region, and Sam Nabby is here as well, project coordinator with 1 Million Neighbors. We will not be voting, it seems, likely at least, for a regional chair this October in our municipal election. All signs point towards a legislative change provincially that will then appoint the chair of this region and others, as opposed to us here voting for our own representative. Marjorie, I'll start with you on this one. What do you think of the province's reforms to regional governance here in Ontario?
Really, I don't think much of it at all. You know, it seems to me that Mr. Ford is putting a stranglehold on democracy in our province. It's as if everything has to be decided from above. We are a region, we are individual cities. We, the people, vote in people who we feel serve our best interest, who care about our best interest, whether it is a city councillor, a regional councillor, or the regional chair. He's taking that away from us. He is going to be appointing somebody somebody, could be from anywhere. I wonder what he's going to pay them, because this salaries are fantastic for the MPPs these days. And is this also going to be a fantastic cost for a regional chair that he appoints that we then are going to have to pay for? First thing. Second thing is, I'm noticing he's giving them special powers. They have the power of veto. So it can be that we, the people, have an agenda that we intend to be pushed through our councillors because we want certain policies, we want certain bylaws, we want certain things in place. And this person decides they don't like that. And they can, with a swipe of a pen, override us all. I don't even know who this person will be. How do I know they have our best interest in heart? And at the bottom, the thing that really strikes a deep thing in me is that we have a democratic process. We have a process by which we can talk, have discourse, we can come to council, we can push our things, we can talk directly to our councillors, we can, really push on things that we think that are important. And sometimes we get them through. What happens when somebody can just callously throw them aside? Where is the democracy in that? Where are the goals and aims for our region? Look at when we talked about planning for our region, and we had planned how many years in advance, how to grow the region, what was green, what was to be protected, and all the fights that we've had to go through with the province on that. When you have somebody sitting in the middle of all of that now who can disrupt anything that we have done, that's disturbing. That's upsetting. And that's wrong. They're hijacking our democracy right now by doing that. And it's wrong.
I am not at all a fan of the appointment either. And I can't believe until this moment I hadn't thought of how much will this individual be paid of our tax money. Interesting point among many others. Janice, what do you make of the possibility that we're not voting for a regional chair this October?
I didn't elect Doug Ford, and the region, I think, would agree that they didn't elect him to do such drastic changes without consultation. He comes up with his policies, and there's no consultation. He just announces it on a Friday. Usually he does it before holiday to avoid the scrutiny, and makes these drastic changes to our local governance structure. Same with school boards. School board trustees have been in place since 1816 in Canada. I did some research on it in Ontario. And, now we have this premier who just comes in and he could do whatever he wants and change, long held policies and long held principles and long held structures that we have. Like Marjorie said, we have a democratic right to elect our representatives, and we have a process for discussion. We have a process of accountability, and now Ford, removes all of that. Who knows who this person is going to be? And are they going to have our regional interests in mind, or are they going to be listening to Ford from Queen's Park and just be a yes man?
I do find Premier Ford's fascination with municipalities very, very interesting. I've heard him referred to before. It might have been on this panel as the mayor of Ontario as opposed to the premier, because he's so interested in municipal affairs. And your point, Janice, about what we call the Friday afternoon news dump going into a weekend. It was a Thursday leading into a long weekend. And I'll draw back the curtain. I was tipped off that the news was coming 48 hours ahead of time. So on Tuesday, I knew the news was coming. So clearly, the province knew the announcement, like they had the plan for it, and they didn't announce it till the Thursday going into a long weekend. I think that tells you something too. Sam, your thoughts?
Yeah, I think Marjorie and Janice, you've talked about the democratic concerns here and how the overriding local decision making has been a bit of a calling card of this provincial government. It's it is another example of bulldozing our ability to do local politics and local governance. Appointing a regional chair. I mean, I don't know if any of you have seen the some of the council meetings with the former appointed chair in Niagara, but we talk about trying to collaborate across regional and local councils here. We do that because we have a relationship and we have an understanding and an ability to talk to one another. If you have someone who just is going around taking action without consulting the other councils and saying, well, Doug Ford told me to do it, I mean, that's going to really create an acrimonious relationship. And then on the other hand, I want to talk about the reasons, the purported reasons for this. People like MPP Harris and members of Doug Ford's government are saying that this is necessary so that we can build more homes and that we can solve the water crisis. And so, okay, does that mean that the province's decision to get rid of regional planning was a mistake? Are they admitting that they need more control and more centralized and more regional decision making on that front? Does it mean that we're not meeting our housing goals? No, not really. I mean, if you look at City of Kitchener, we pledged in 2021, I believe, to build somewhere around 30,000 new homes, and the city has approved almost half of that already. Are they getting built? No. Of the 15,000 that have been approved, only 5,000 have gone through building permits. So the bottleneck is not with the municipalities, and I wish the provincial government would really recognize that in a lot of the things that matter and that we're trying to solve. The cities are not the bottleneck. The cities are not the problem here. There are market conditions, and there are other issues with getting housing built and tinkering around the edges and playing with foundational things like a regional chair appointment. That sounds big, but will it do anything to build more homes? I don't see the connection.
Sounds very similar to strong mayor powers, another example of what the province said we needed to build more homes. I wonder if, is this all we're going to see?
Going on that one.
Please, Marjorie. That's why that's why I said that.
Because
in fact, just to get you going.
In Cambridge, that was just a disaster. That was just a disaster. Things that have happened or come to be or pushed aside and stopped. It just turned things into a circus. It's ridiculous. Now it's harder to get certain things done. It's harder to get to the city to get things done. Giving somebody something like those major powers disempowers the council. It stops the council from being able to function as it should function. Because if you go through all the processes and agree as a council that certain things are not working or certain things are wrong or certain things need to be called out, and then you are overruled by one person. Again, not democratic, but also it totally disables the system. And you talk about a bottleneck, it's not a bottleneck, it's just cut right off. Things stall and they just don't happen at all. One person cannot have that much power. That is not how it works.
And that person, those people who do have those strong mayor powers have been, up until now, democratically elected. The strong chair powers would be to somebody who is appointed. It's going to be an interesting 6 months or so ahead. October 26th, make sure you make a mark on a ballot when the municipal election rolls around. Get out and vote, exactly. Unfortunately, the provincial election, not till 2029. We've got a ways to go in that one with all this meddling in municipalities. Marjorie Knight, Janice Jim, Sam Nabby with us on the Friday 4 Roundtable. The crew of Artemis 2 splashes down about 8 hours from now. How do we feel about the mission to the other side of the moon? We'll talk about it with our guests on the Friday 4 Roundtable this morning here on the Mike Farwell Show. This is 570 News Radio.
I've been hanging around gas stations, been talking to grease monkeys. I've been working on carbs. Moose jaw slop, you moose them in two. Running back to Saskatoon. Red Deer Terrace and a medicine hat. Singing of the prairie tune. Singing of the prairie tune. Prairie's baby talking.
We always find a way to work in some Canadian content to our All Request Fridays, and this week that's thanks to Marino and his request on songs about places, a little bit of the Guess Who and running back to Saskatoon as we get into the fourth and final topic with our Friday 4 roundtable this morning. Sam Nabby, Janice Jim, and Marjorie Knight are with us this morning. Sam, I'll start with you. And I admit, I sent this with tongue firmly in cheek because I actually read a commentary out of the UK about how useless this whole endeavor is to send people up into outer space and take photographs of the dark side of the moon, etc. I felt like a little kid this past week in a bit. I've truly loved it. But your thoughts on the Artemis 2 mission? I mean, we've been there, done that, haven't we? Why do we spend billions of dollars pursuing exploration of outer space?
Yeah, it's interesting. I think this mission to the moon and back is one of those ones that I wasn't really paying close attention to until it really started happening, and people were saying, "Okay, it's launching. They're out there. They've gone as far as humans have ever gone. They're taking photos of the dark side of the moon." And it wasn't until we started seeing those photos, I think, that I really keyed in and said, you know what, this is really something special. And I know that we have so many competing priorities and so many things here on Earth that we could also be working on and allocating resources to. But I think this does come down to our fascination as a species with the sky and with what's up there. And if you recall a couple of years ago or last year, whenever it was, we had the eclipse that, people took time out of their day to stop and pause and wonder and look together. And we get a rare number of unifying moments like that, I think. And so I'm going to say it's a plus. I'm going to say on the balance, I'm supportive. We got to be out there doing science and learning about the world and the universe that we're in. I think it's the same reason we would go down to study the bottom of the ocean or go to Antarctica. And as long as it's done in that spirit of scientific discovery and inquiry, I think that's really what we need to stay focused on.
Yeah, very well said. I might add to it the ambition, too, that is involved in such an endeavor really inspires me. Janice, I'll throw it over your way. What have you made of Artemis 2 and all of the attention paid to it these past 10 days or so?
It's always a distraction from all the doom and gloom and strife in the world. But I think people who complain about the money, I think they're doing a lot of testing for future missions. They're proving the concept of a lot of the equipment and getting testing done and getting things ready for future missions. So I think that's why the program has to keep rolling, even though we've been to the moon before. And like I said, having an international crew up there, it's always nice to watch a little bit of unity, international unity. And also, it was funny to watch them talk to President Trump and they compare that when they were chatting with Prime Minister Carney. So that was pretty funny.
The technology and how this has brought the mission right into our living rooms has been just incredible stuff as far as I'm concerned. Marjorie, your thoughts on the mission?
It's just absolutely fascinating to see this. And yeah, we've been to the moon, but not to the dark side. And, when we finish destroying this planet, we got to figure out where we're going to go next.
I thought about that too. I did. Yep.
And how we're going to go next. And actually, there's a lot of benefit that comes from some of these space expeditions in terms of scientific exploration and knowledge that we get from that. And it costs a lot of money. And we need a lot of money for other things. But you know what also costs a lot of money that we could do less of? War. Much more money. And man, that money I complain about daily. This money, it actually benefits mankind in ways that we don't necessarily understand now. We don't know experiments or all the things and what ramifications they can have for medication and health and all kinds of things that happen up there in space. And other than that, as my mother would say, it's just cool beans, man, to be able to watch that. So I'm all right.
Yeah, I fully agree, Marjorie. I mean, this is the thing. Everything costs money, and anyone can point at something like a rocket launching off and saying that's an extravagance and that's, we shouldn't be doing that. But like you say, how much scrutiny are we spending on the amount of money going towards the war machine, especially in the last few months? And Canada continually trying to increase its military spending to meet this NATO target, and yes, there's discussion about it, but it's not that level of scrutiny that is warranted, in my opinion. Going back to thinking about space in the same way that we think about places like Antarctica, I was trying to pull that together into a cohesive thought, and the one thing that came to mind was there are two things that are not allowed on Antarctic research bases, and we know there's many nations there, many different types of people there. It's the one spot on Earth where there's no violent conflict happening, and that's because there's an agreement that there are no military actions allowed on Antarctica, and there's no commercial mining exploration allowed on Antarctica. And if we can find a way to come together as an international community and apply those same principles to the moon, I don't know what is being planned for this Artemis moon base, but I would hope that we can go together in that spirit of exploration and knowledge and curiosity, and that this is not about conquest. This is not about exploitation, and I really worry about the commercialization of space. That's why we do need to have people saying, yes, let's support NASA and the Canadian Space Agency and these research and scientific organizations, because if the support and the funding disappears from those people, who will fill the void? It's military companies that want to build space lasers and mining companies that want to exploit the moon for profit, and then we end up in a sci-fi dystopia.
Sam Nabby, Marjorie Knight, Janice Jim, our Friday Four Roundtable guests this morning as we're fresh out of time. I thank you all. Enjoy the weekend ahead, and we'll talk again soon. This is the Mike Farwell Show, 570 News Radio. Little bit of Street Heart, song called Hollywood, by request from Nate, Farwell's Force member number 8 on this All Request Friday. Songs About Places edition. What other places will we go in this final hour together of the week? You'll find out as we play the requests and listen to the conversations, because Free Phones Friday is just that. We open our phone lines freely to you, allowing you the opportunity to bring to the conversation whatever it is that's on your mind. And we go to interesting places on these open line opportunities, don't we? 519, I love them anyway, 519-570-2545, star 570, and 1-800-570-5715. Let's get it started with Dave this afternoon. Good afternoon, Dave. You're on Free Phones Friday.
Good afternoon, Mike. I'd like to give a shout-out to the CBC.
What?
Right?
Why?
Because tonight, if you're not a Rangers fan, you can watch it live. But if you are a Rangers fan or a sports fan, like a Jays or whatever, you can record the CBC tonight because they're carrying the broadcast of the Artemis II return for several hours tonight, scheduled. So I just thought to give it a shout out, and go Rangers go, and go Jays go, and safe return for Artemis. Have a great night. Bye.
Thanks, Dave. Farwell's Force member number 47 right there. And leave it to Dave to find the silver lining in that tax cesspool that is the CBC. Okay, I'm joking. That was a little bit of a joke. Just for a little bit of background. If you do the kind of work that I do, and you are in this broadcasting business, there are private broadcasters like this one that you're listening to right now, and then there are public broadcasters. And we here on the private side compete for revenue that the CBC doesn't have to compete for. You see? And then I just, you want my chaff's chaping. Let me tell you. Anyway, we'll just leave that alone. Thank you, Dave. Good to hear from you today, as always. Jersey Bill is with us as well on Free Phones Friday. Good afternoon, Billy.
Hey, I got to go in on this supposed peace talk that is going on there.
Is it not peaceful? You don't think so?
Oh, Lord. I just shake my head. I can foresee a situation where Trump is so desperate to turn around his bad poll numbers that he might actually agree to a solution that is not that different from the agreement he tore up that the Obama administration put forward. Maybe tweaked a little bit here or there. And of course, the other tragic thing is, I've always been one to say, the Israelis, they need to be able to defend themselves. But unfortunately, Lebanon as well was set up actually after World War I to be a place where not just Muslim Arabs but Muslim Christians could sort of live in peace. And of course, that should have been guaranteed by somebody, by some outside agency. But unfortunately, it's been allowed to also become an area of war. It had that long civil war that happened in the 80s and the 90s, and now with Hezbollah drawing Israel in again. Somebody needs to step in there and keep those people from being slaughtered and descending back to a civil war. That's what really needs to happen now. When Iran says that Lebanon should be included in, they want to defend their proxies, the Hezbollah. But nobody, once again, just like with the Palestinians, no outside agency is willing to step in and say, this is a line that Israel can't cross. This is a line where these different terrorist groups can't control and destabilize the region. We've seen all the major powers of the world, including the United States, seem to be powerless giants, not able to settle things, and only able to make agreements which seem to be in their interest. But to get there, they just cause death and destruction along the way.
But Billy, can we be honest here? Like, I love the notion or the idea that there will be peace in the Middle East and somehow we will help broker that. Can we just, after all this time, can we just acknowledge that it ain't happening? It's just not happening.
Well, you know what bothers me is that there have been attempts along the way, right? The Oslo Agreement, and there have been different combinations of belligerent powers. Remember, in '56, before you were born and I was only 5 years old, and it was mainly about the control of the Suez Canal. At that moment, Israel allied not with the U.S. but with France and Great Britain to rush over the Sinai Peninsula and take control of the Suez Canal, which Nasser wanted for his own people, which was totally understandable. And actually, the United States was instrumental in getting the Israelis and the French and the British to withdraw from the territory that they got. So these different things haven't always been the same, and different agencies have sort of intervened at different times. but never in a final way. Never to make a final peace. It always seems like the powers that be would prefer to have this belligerency, and it doesn't benefit any of the people there, and just causes more death and destruction. And I'm just, like I say, intervene if you think you need to intervene, but do so in a way that finishes the. Why were we able to finish World War II and we're not able to finish the problems in the Middle East? It makes no sense. But that's the world we live in.
All right, Billy. I appreciate the call. I think you kind of made my point after I asked the question, and I'm sorry to be so pessimistic and kind of be that guy, but like multiple attempts at interventions of different kinds in different forms. And the outcome remains the same. The song remains the same, as Led Zeppelin would have sang to us. Kyle, good afternoon. You're on Free Phones Friday.
Good afternoon. Let's go Rangers!
I like it.
Rangers!
I totally lost you on the second one, buddy.
That's okay. You know what I mean. What? Rangers! Thanks, Mike!
All right, Kyle. I don't know how your vocal cords withstand what you do to them, but good job by you. Walter is with us on Free Phones Friday. Hello, Walter.
How are you doing today, my friend?
I'm doing real good.
So, let me get this straight. Until Artemis went around the moon, it was only Pink Floyd had been on the dark side of the moon?
Very good, yes.
Yes, okay. Now, I have to agree 100% with what you said, Mike.
Oh, my gosh. Wait, somebody start the recording. Walter is agreeing not just a little bit, but all the way with me. Okay, I'm ready. Let's go. I've got the recording started.
Yeah, with the Middle East, there's no way that Trump is going to resolve that. It has been going on for what? Like around 1,500 years or 2,000 years or even longer. It's not going to work. They should stay out of there. Let the warlords figure it out as they've done for that length of time. And our intervention over there is just ridiculous. It never, ever is actually going to work. And that's what I have to say about that, Mike. And, no, man, there's one more thing. And good luck in the playoffs. I know, all that, like what happened to our team over in Guelph here. They got, I don't want to talk about it. But you watch out next year, man. We're going to be stocking up there, for the Cup. And it's going to be a good one next year. I can see it coming. Okay, thanks.
Thanks, Walter. Yes, a Guelph Storm fan looking ahead to next year after the Storm were swept by Windsor in round number 1. And that was to be expected. The Storm, not the strongest team this year, but they've got all of the assets. The draft pick cupboard is full to rebuild, retool, restore the former glory. They won the OHL championship, Guelph did, in 2019. There you go. They're going to host the Memorial Cup next year. And Walter says bluer skies and greener grass is ahead, as he, from the perspective of a Storm fan, wishes luck to the Highway 7 rival down the road. Kitchener Rangers open against the Sault Ste. Marie Greyhounds. The Western Conference semifinals begin tonight in Kitchener. Pre-game coverage right here on your home of Kitchener Rangers hockey starts at 6:30. Game day, baby. Playoff game day. And Free Phones Friday continues on the Mike Farwell Show. This is 570 News Radio. Ah, that qualifies as a song about a place, doesn't it? That place being Sweet Home, Alabama. That is Lynyrd Skynyrd by request for Heather on this All Request Friday Songs About Places edition. Hey, listen, I just want you to know, I don't mean to be boastful in any way, but I want you to know the community that you are a part of. Broadly, of course, here in the region of Waterloo, we've got one of the best places to live in the entire ding-dang world. But the more specific micro community, if you will, of Farwell's Force members. In fact, dare I say it's becoming a macro community. I just added Phil's name to our ever-growing list, and now we have sequentially numbers all the way up to 370. Not to mention all the randos that come in after that, including my buddy Mike yesterday, who said, I don't think Getty would mind if I took number 2112, would he? Oh, Mike, you got 2112. I'm going to write it down twice. I won't count it twice. I'll just write it down twice because I think it's such a great number. Anyway, we are at 370 and counting sequentially. I mean, is it still possible? Could we, by the end of this year, reach 500 members of Farwell's Force? Big dreams, baby. Big dreams, just like game day, baby. But you never know. If you listen for 15 minutes a day, every day you have to give us 15 minutes here on the show. It can be any 15 minutes, 9 to 9:15, 12:20 like it is now till 12:35. You take your pick. You can listen for more than 15 minutes. But if you give us 15 minutes every day, we will include you in the ever-growing Farwell's Force. We'll assign you a number, and you too can be a force for good, a force for change, a force to be reckoned with as we continue to grow our force on the show. Farwell's Force member number 45, who also, by the way, has great taste in music. Preston Paul is with us on Free Phones Friday. Hey, Paul.
Hey, Mike. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
Thanks for playing my song earlier.
Little L.A. Woman from the Doors. I like it.
Yeah, it's a good one, that's for sure. Died too young, that's for sure.
Oh, my goodness. He's one of the 27 Club, Jim Morrison, right?
Yeah. So a couple of things. Are you still planning on maybe doing your show from the bus on Monday?
I am.
That's a great idea.
You think it's a great idea?
I do. I think that'd be cool.
All right.
You're sitting in a motel room. You're sitting on the bus. Like you say, kill at least half that trip away, right?
Well, selfishly, yes. I mean, technically, it's not going to be the easiest thing, but I'm going to do my best, Paul. Why not? I'll have some backups ready, and we'll see if we can figure it out.
Yeah, I think that'd be a great idea. And I think we just need to cool our heels a bit on the Blue Jays. The sky's not falling.
Oh, yeah. So you're just, everything's fine now that we beat the Dodgers the other day, eh?
No, I just, because I'm the same. I get worked up, and I'm thinking, it's April. You got to relax. They sucked until the end of May last year before they caught fire. So we just got to wait for our pitchers to come back and hope they get out of this hitting slump, and we'll be just fine. So
I like the optimism, Paul.
So you have a good night. Go Rangers, go, and try not to have a heart attack out there.
All right, buddy. Enjoy the weekend.
All right, you too. Thanks, Mike.
Thanks, Paul. Preston Paul, Farwell's Force member number 45. And it's funny, Clinton sent an email to that same effect. Clinton writes to Mike at 570news.com, following up on your suggestion yesterday. Are you going to follow through with it and take your show live on the road? I sure hope so. It could be fun. Maybe some segments with the Rangers, maybe live commentary from the Moose. Listen, live commentary from the driver while he's driving, I'm not going to promise that by any stretch. And when I told Paul about backups, I'm thinking, look, Wi-Fi on the bus is only going to be so reliable, I think. So I'm working on some ideas that could keep me on the air, because that would be the worst thing, somewhere between here and Sudbury, just dropping right off the face of the earth. And as for the players, listen, I'm just there to get a free ride to Sault Ste. Marie, So, and we're leaving early. Like 9 o'clock is early for these young men. They might be a little bit more bleary-eyed than I. Anyway, we're going to work out the logistics. I'm stoked. I want to try something that I do not think has ever been done before. I haven't been able to find any record of somebody attempting a radio show while riding a hockey team bus to parts further north in a province. I haven't heard it been done. It's been done before. I think I'm ready. I want to do this. I want us together to be a part of something special, historical on Monday. So, hey, listen, if there wasn't a better reason to tune in first thing Monday morning at 9 o'clock, if it's working, I'm going to be there. And that's where we'll do the show from, en route to Sault Ste. Marie. You can help me kill half the trip. I won't have to do a single crossword puzzle. Just sit there and talk to you. All right, back to the phones on Free Phones Friday. Grant is next. Hello, Grant.
Yeah, I don't think anything will change in the Middle East for years to come.
I agree.
They have their own set ways, and it doesn't matter who the states have in office. They have their own set ways, especially that Yahoo in North Korea. He's one dangerous guy that I do not want to tip off.
Listen, Grant, geography is not my strong point, but I'm pretty sure North Korea and the Middle East are different places.
Yeah.
Okay.
And,
so I make sure, because I'm geographically challenged. I don't want to confuse people. Okay.
That's okay. And I'm going to touch on two other subjects. Do you remember Sean Burr?
Of course I remember Sean Burr.
Yeah, he passed away in 2013. Not 2013. I can't remember what year it was, but he had a brain hemorrhage. He fell and,
Yeah.
And are you going to be doing the Q&A at the center of the square for John Cleese in October?
Oh, Grant. Oh, I wish I could. Hey, if the Center in the Square is listening, I got to do that. And here's the thing about it. I got to do that years ago, and I didn't know what I was doing or what I was getting into. It was kind of a late 11th hour kind of last minute request. And you know me, sure, I'll help out. But I thought I was just providing some sort of introduction at the show, whatever. I was on stage doing a Q&A. And again, I'm sorry, this probably sounds so boastful again, but this was one of the moments of my career that I've cherished. I've got this great picture of John and I laughing together on this stage. It sure as hell couldn't have been anything I said, but oh my goodness, I was right there on stage doing a live Q&A with the legendary John Cleese. But when they asked me to help out at the event, I had no idea that's what I was going to be doing. And then I get to the center of the square and they put me in the green room with John Cleese and they're like, okay, so here's how it's going to go and here's how you're going to operate. I'm like, wait a minute. There's an extra chair on the stage. I'm going to sit right there. Oh, it was incredible. I don't believe I'm doing it in October. But again, if the Center in the Square is listening and they want me back, hell to the yes. Free Phones Friday continues on the Mike Farwell Show. This is 570 News Radio. You know why? You're going to meet some gentle people when you go to San Francisco? Because they're all high on the wacky tobacco. I'm just, what I'm doing here is helping you out a little bit. I'm just sharing. Okay, so when you go to San Francisco, particularly back in the late 1960s when that song was written, that's why you met all those nice, mellow people. It's an All Request Friday, Songs About Places edition, and Randy wanted to hear some Scott McKenzie and San Francisco, the full title of which is Be Sure to Wear Flowers in Your Hair. I remember fondly getting to play that song as part of our music library at 580 CKXR in Salmon Arm, British Columbia. That's when I first was introduced, just not personally introduced, but to the music of Scott McKenzie. It took me back, Randy. Thank you for that. Keep those requests coming. Oh, wait, we only have room for one more. I know that spot has been filled. What place will we go to next on this All Request Friday? You'll find out in about 10 minutes. Right now, it's back to the phones because it's also Free Phones Friday. And Frank, Farwell's Force, member number 365, is with us. Good afternoon, Frank.
Good afternoon. Sharing is caring, isn't it?
It is indeed. That's what I hear all the time.
I'm so looking forward to Radio on the Road Monday. Now, that's a talent. That's a talent move.
Let's not get carried away here, Frank. I don't know about talent. Guts, maybe?
Yeah.
Foolishness, perhaps?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It actually takes a little guts to when you are the talent. I need to hire your talent for the Farwell for hire. Plans are in your inbox. I'm going to send some more follow-up stuff this weekend on it because I'm running back to Saskatoon, actually Edmonton. But first I got to stop in Burton Cummings' hometown of Winnipeg. Anyways, it was just I was tuned into satellite radio just before the show, and Don Henley was talking about Billy Joel's song "The Entertainer." And when the radio station producers, they would edit these tracks down to 305 and 257, they had all these rules, right? And they got sick of it. And they said, you know what? We're going to come up with something called the Golden Hacksaw Awards. It's like giving these people a giant raspberry in a song. And really, it was all about the talent speaking out. How about a little more respect for, the talent sitting in the chair? So I'm just putting that out there, Mike. I look forward to Northwestern Ontario and joining your Rangers broadcast this evening. Have yourself an excellent weekend.
Thanks, Frank. Good to hear from you. Boy, you're talking about editing those songs to a certain length just so they were, as we would say back then, radio friendly. Heaven forbid you have a 6 or a 7 or, heaven forbid even more, a double-digit minute song to play on the radio. We couldn't do that. And again, if you'll allow me just the moment to go on a bit of a tangent here. Dreamboat Annie, under 3 minutes. And at my very first radio job, back in the summer of 1995, I was doing the overnight show in Brantford, and timing out, as we call it, was really important. You had to, finish the hour, let's say, on time, music, talking, etc., so that the news would get on at the appropriate time, which was, right at the stroke of 1 a.m. or 2 a.m., etc., because overnights we would use a news service. So it was coming at 1 o'clock whether you were ready for it or not. So among my jobs, keeping people awake or entertained while they were awake and playing the music and giving the updates on weather and whatnot, I had to make sure the news came onto the air on time. And we didn't have computers. Everything was done manually in terms of timing it all out. So every once in a while, you'd be looking for that song that was just short enough to fill the... I wasn't going to talk. I wasn't allowed to talk for 2.5 minutes back. You imagine that? They let me talk for 4 hours a day now. I couldn't talk for 40 damn seconds back at CKPC in Brantford, but now I get 4 hours. Anyway, Dreamboat Annie was a go-to song to fill less than 3 minutes and time out the hour so that you got the news on time. In case, I know you couldn't have gone through your day if you didn't know that little radio secret, right? Now you know. And now computers do it all. I basically don't have to do anything. Well, I kind of have to stay on time. Anyway, computers do it all. No more math. No more math at all in radio. Edward is next on Free Phones Friday. Good afternoon, Edward.
Hey, good morning. Good afternoon, Mike. How are you?
I am great, my friend. This can be none other than my good friend, Edward Farwell. How are you, buddy?
I am wonderful.
Good.
I'm so pumped about the game tonight.
You and me both.
It's going to be a great series.
I think I heard through the grapevine, Edward, that you may be making an appearance at the Kitchener Memorial Auditorium tonight. Is that true? Come on. Are you gracing us with your presence?
Good sources.
I do have good sources. That's right. Okay. Yes, sir.
Yeah, we're going to be at the community corner tonight, Mike.
I love it. You and the fine folks with, KW Accessibility, one of my favorite organizations of which you are the executive director.
Exactly. So I just want to encourage people to come out and say hi. We're starting our helicopter golf ball drop again. So we've got tickets for people to win $10,000. So if they stop by the booth today, come and see us and get a ticket. And we got a special treat for all those that buy a ticket. So hopefully they'll come by and say hi.
You know, Edward, it just so happens that I have an email in my inbox right now from our good friend Brett. And he's mentioning the helicopter ball drop and can we get some time on the show to talk about it, which we can and we will schedule. But this helicopter ball drop that you've added to the annual golf tournament every year out at Guelph Country Club is something else. Like literally the balls come pouring out of the helicopter and whichever number gets closest to the pin, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So we've done it twice, and we've given away 10,000 each year.
That's amazing.
And it's pretty amazing to see the balls coming out of the helicopter.
It's quite the spectacle.
So cool. Everybody goes crazy.
Yep. And the chance to win $10,000, nothing wrong with that. So we can get tickets for that helicopter ball drop in the community corner at the Ranger game tonight.
Absolutely. And people can also check out our website. We've got some links there, but definitely, if you're going to the game tonight, come and say hi.
How much is a ticket, Edward?
They're $20 each or 3 for $50.
All right, $20 each, 3 tickets for $50, so you get the bit of the volume discount there. And I heard you say something about a special treat for everybody that buys a ticket when they see you at the game tonight.
Exactly. One of our volunteers has made a special treat, so definitely come by and see what it is. And Mike, if you're around before the game starts, I know you're a busy guy, but we'll be there around 5:30. So.
Edward, you said treat. You know that, right?
Exactly.
Okay.
We might have to send one up to you.
No. I'm coming to you, pal. I am coming to you.
All right. Sounds great.
Thanks, Edward. We'll see you tonight, okay?
You bet. Go Rangers.
Thanks. Good to hear from you today. Edward Farwell, the executive director at KW Accessibility. They're getting ready for their annual golf tournament, and this will be the 3rd time they do the helicopter ball drop. It really is quite the spectacle as the balls come pouring out of that helicopter, hovering over the green, and then whichever ball gets closest to the hole or the pin, I think if it goes in the hole, I'm not the expert on that. The bottom line is it's a fun little way to raise some money, and you could win $10,000 if your ball ends up in the closest spot, the right spot, and you can get those tickets from the community corner at the Memorial Auditorium tonight, $20 per or 3 for $50, chance to win 10 grand. Not so bad at all. And you're supporting, of course, KW Accessibility, which does such great work in our community for those with accessibility needs. Back to the phones on Free Phones Friday. Bob is next. Good afternoon, Bob.
Hey, Mike. Good luck at the Rangers game tonight. We'll be cheering them on. But I got a couple of comments on this Ford fiasco with the regional chairs. What are there, 44 chairs in Ontario?
I don't know about 44, but
there's a bunch of them anyway. So go ahead.
No, sorry. Go. Yeah, I don't think there are 44, but nonetheless, yes, there are a handful or more that will become appointed positions.
Yeah. So what better way for Dictator Doug to force through something along the lines of the Greenbelt or whatever else he wants when he's got all of these Ford flunkies appointed and owing him big time for whatever amount of money they're getting every month. So, it's not really that hard to figure out why he's doing this. It's just a matter of people opening their eyes and seeing it.
I think it's a fair point. Okay, Bob, thank you.
Thank you. Have a great weekend.
You too. Good to hear from you. I do have concerns, even though I am that guy, as you probably know, who has long been advocating for some kind of regional reform. Essentially, what I've advocated for is the elimination of one of our local levels of government. I don't think we need to, frankly. So let's just eliminate one of those levels and have one level of local government for the entire region of Waterloo. And we could have been working on this, and we could have come up with a structure of that single government that works for our community. I think there were all kinds of opportunities, and we didn't do anything. And so I've been saying for years, like, I don't mean to be the I told you so guy, but I guess that's what I'm being. I've been saying for quite some time, if we don't do this ourselves, somebody is going to step in and do it for us. And now Doug Ford has. But to Bob's point, first of all, it's a bit of a half measure as far as I'm concerned, appointing a chair, which is completely undemocratic. That should be a position that we elect as voters. But why just the chair? Like, why aren't we just wiping out the level of regional government? We're essentially removing one elected position, meaning we still have 58 others. I don't think we need that many, Premier Ford. I wish we could talk about something a little larger in scale when it comes to a reform of regional governance. But this idea that we are going to appoint what is still a political position, a position that makes decisions and is granted strong chair powers, so that appointed position will have a fair deal of influence over local affairs, and we didn't vote for that person. I do not like that, Sam. I am. You cannot make me like those green eggs and ham. That bothers me. How about the consolidation of conservation authorities? And what does that look like? Bob made reference to the Greenbelt and the sorts of checks and balances that remained in place to monitor these things. It really is concerning. I've liked Doug Ford. He seems like a nice enough guy, certainly the kind of guy you could sit down and have a beer with sometime. But these decisions of late, remember, he came back to us as voters a little over a year ago saying, look, we got to get a new mandate here in Ontario so that we can fight off the tariff threat and get ourselves ready to do battle with Donald Trump in the United States. At which time he won another majority, a strong majority, and assured himself of remaining in power until 2029. And then since that time, oh boy, have we been hustling through an agenda when we sit at Queen's Park. Don't even get me started at the few number of days that MPPs have even been at Queen's Park debating things. It is worrisome, to say the very least. Thanks for putting us on that path, Bob. What path would you like to put us on? It's Free Phones Friday, where you get the chance to start the conversation. And our All Request Friday, songs about places. We've got one more to play. Where are we going next? We'll find out on the Mike Farwell Show. This is 570 News Radio.
Start spreading the news. I'm leaving today. I want to be a part of it. New York, New York. These vagabond shoes are longing to stray right through the very heart of it. New York, New York.
Oh, the chairman of the board himself. And what better way to wind down an All Request Friday, songs about places, than with Frank Sinatra. New York, New York, by request from Mike, Farwell's Force, member number 10, right here on the show. Every Friday we do an All Request Friday. Heads up, next Friday, the 17th of April, there will not be an All Request Friday because a weird thing is happening, let me tell you. We're about to enter a playoff series with the Sault Ste. Marie Greyhounds. It begins tonight in Kitchener. It continues Sunday in Kitchener. On Monday, we travel. On Tuesday, we will be in the Sault to play a game against the Greyhounds. On Wednesday, we will stay in the Sault, waiting for the game on Thursday when we will play the Sault again. And then we finish the game in Sault Ste. Marie next Thursday night, and we got to come back and play another game if Game 5 is necessary on Friday night in Kitchener. So management here at the station said, you are not coming to work next Friday. There's going to be very precious little time and precious little sleep between Games 4 and 5 if Game 5 is necessary. So there won't be an All Request Friday next week. I just thought I'd share that with you. But listen, I'm going to be with you every day through the week next week here on the show. And we've still got a few minutes left in Free Phones Friday. Our final hour together of every week gives you the opportunity with open phone lines to start the conversation. Adam is with us. We'll hear from him next. Good afternoon, Adam.
Hello, how you doing, Mike?
I'm good, thank you. How are you?
Great, thanks. I had a quick point to make about our the Waterloo region water issue.
Yeah.
And I'm just curious, like, I haven't heard anybody address the elephant in the room, which is our target population of 1 million people by 2050. But we're unable to really sustain our current population with the amount our aquifers are being drawn down currently.
It's a great point, Adam. And in fact, the first person I heard make reference to that elephant in the room publicly was Waterloo MPP Catherine Fife. And she said right here on this show that maybe it's time to get the adults in the room together and talk about this idea of growing to 1 million people and whether or not we even can do that. So that was some time ago, early on in this water issue as the story started to come to the surface. But that's something that Ms. Fife said right here on this show.
Right, I missed that. But
that's all right.
But it hasn't been in many of the discussions, and we can't keep stealing water from neighboring communities to fulfill our. I don't know why we're obligated to expand at such a rate, but that's like over doubling our population in the next 24 years.
Well, no, we're about 700,000 now, so we're adding about 50%, little less.
Okay.
Yeah. But listen.
It's an issue I think that needs to be looked at a little more closely. Anyway, thanks for your time.
Thanks, Adam. Appreciate the call. And it's a great point because these are important conversations. And I agreed with Catherine Fife when she said it. I think it is time to have a serious conversation, get the adults around the table and discuss that very thing. We are headed towards 1 million people in this community. We've been talking about being 1 million ready. Well, it's going to be awfully tough to be 1 million ready if we don't have water. And right now we're saying we don't really have enough for the 700,000 that are here today. So how will we have enough for another 300,000 in the next 25 years? It's a good question and something for us to think about as we head into a weekend. Maybe we can put our thinking aside and just do some cheering tonight. I invite you to do that along with me. I'll try not to cheer too much because I'm in the press box. I'm supposed to be unbiased. I grew up in this town. I grew up watching the Rangers. I'm looking forward to tonight's game. If you can't be there, be right here on your home of Kitchener Rangers hockey. Pre-game coverage with Josh Piercy and I starts at 6:30. Then it's Rangers Greyhounds on the ice, and Josh and I will stick around late and take your phone calls on Rangers Talk. That is still to come, and then we'll get back together Monday morning and have some conversations here on the show. My name is Mike Farwell. You are a force for good. Go Rangers, go. Bye for now.